Hey kids, do you like wrestling? Well, we like wrestling too. We are Shake Them Ropes here on the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Myself and Chris Novembrino kind of doing a lazy river of wrestling criticism, going through the news and whatever happened in stateside television wrestling. And also, you know what? Sometimes we just like to watch old stuff and talk about that too. Love for you to give us a listen. If you haven't already, we are Shake Them Ropes here on the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network.
This podcast is a member of the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Visit voicesofwrestling.com to hear the rest of our great podcasts, as well as show reviews, columns, opinions, and updates across the world of wrestling.
You are listening to the Flagship Podcast with your hosts, Joe Lanza.
The fucking sun sucks. I don't know what you people see in the sun. I don't know how you people do the sun. It's just the dirt worst. I want nothing to do with it. I'd be content never going out in the sun again.
And Rich Crage.
This is the dumbest show. I cannot believe these people. Some people pay us $10 to listen to the show live. This is what we give them for 45 minutes.
Been doing this for 10 years. Why?
We're bigger than ever. More people listen to us than ever.
Why?
And we are live on the Flagship Podcast. I am Rich. He is Joe. Joe, what's happening? How are you?
I am Joe.
You are Joe. And it is another episode of the Flagship here. And Flagship Live for those people on the $10 tier over there at flagshippatreon.com. You are listening live. A little bit of an abbreviated, or not an abbreviated show. We're starting early here. We're starting at half an hour or so early this week. But everything else, business as usual here on the Flagship. Big time show talking about a lot of AEW topics. And I kind of wanted to start off this week's show with an AEW topic, a big picture AEW topic, before we obviously get into Double or Nothing, which is coming up this weekend. We'll do a big preview of that show. We'll talk about the King and Queen of the Ring. Yes, there is a WWE PLE in Saudi Arabia this weekend. You might not know that, and I definitely just learned about that about a day or so ago. I don't know why. I guess I thought there was more time for it, but it's this weekend. It's happening right now. Some other news going on in the world of wrestling as well. The NBA officially moving on from WBD, or it looks like they are officially going to do that. So we'll talk about some insight and some analysis going on in the sports TV world as it might relate to AEW. We're also going to go to Japan, check in with Pro Wrestling Noah, as well as Marigold. Yes, there's a brand new Joshi promotion. I have watched their debut show. Joe, I know you were locked in every second of Rossy Ogawa's newest creation. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. But let's talk big picture with AEW to kind of start us off here. And it's weird because AEW isn't really promoting this or presenting much of this for whatever reason. And maybe they're going to do more of it here on Sunday. But AEW is going to turn 5 years old this weekend. Double or Nothing 2024 will be the 5th year anniversary. Double or Nothing 2019 is where it all started. And we're now 5 years old with AEW. And before we kind of get into specifics and kind of have a conversation about that, how does that make you feel to know that AEW is 5 years old? Does it feel like 5 years? Does it feel longer than that because you've been watching every single Dynamite weekly? Like, where are you at? Where if somebody said AEW is turning 5 this coming weekend, how does that make you feel?
I don't know. I don't know if I have any specific kind of feelings on that. It still feels like a young promotion, because it is a young promotion. I do think that despite only existing for 5 years, I think they've definitely gone through some different eras already. I think that the current era feels vastly different than when the show first started. I think the current era that we're in feels vastly different than just a couple of years ago. If you go back and watch some of those Dynamites from, obviously you had when the promotion started and it was new, and then you had the pandemic era, and then you had coming out of the pandemic, and now, this current era, I think, feels completely different than, you had I think there's 4 eras and it's only been around for 5 years. New company, fresh company. What's this thing going to be? Pandemic, which felt completely different than when it started for reasons completely out of their control. The pandemic spurred some changes. It led to a total transformation of what AEW Dark was pre-pandemic to what it became during and then post-pandemic. I think the changes in AEW Dark led to them discovering some new talent that may have never been discovered if not for the pandemic. People like Will Hobbs and the Acclaimed. Who knows if they're even in the company if not for the pandemic and the format of Dark changing and having to use all hands on deck and whatever talent was available for the shows during the pandemic. Then there was the era after the pandemic with CM Punk, which I think was a very distinct era. And now we're sort of in this post-Punk era. So the company's been around for 5 years, but I think there's 4 very distinct eras. And I think if I dropped you in to a Dynamite, right, a random Dynamite, you would be able to identify which of the 4 eras that Dynamite was taking place in just by the tone and the feel of the show, even if not necessarily based on, what talent you were watching. So, it just goes to show how quickly things change in wrestling and how quickly, because it's, 4 distinct eras in 5 years. I mean, that's pretty wild when you think about it.
No, it definitely is. And like you said, I think that I'd be able to drop, or if you dropped anybody into a 2020 episode, a 2021 episode, a 2019 episode, really, I mean, you could go, but year by year, if I drop you into any year of AEW in any of these last 5 years of watching a Dynamite or watching a pay-per-view or whatever, you're going to very easily and very distinctly, I think, be able to tell what that era is. And I think there's good and bads to that. We talk about all the time that one of the worst things about WWE television for a very long time. And I think it's changed a little bit in the last year or so, last 2 years or so, but you could pretty much from 2010 to 2019, everything is pretty much the same. It looks the same. It sounds the same. It's very similar. And it is very difficult to, if I dropped you and said, Joe, tell me if this is a 2012 show or a 2014, episode of Monday Night Raw, you'd probably have a trouble doing it. You'd probably be hard-pressed to do it. Some people can maybe say, oh, well, actually, I could tell because this guy in here and this guy in here. But, like, by the look and feel of it and the general tenor of the show, you pretty much know, okay, I'm watching Monday Night Raw from whatever this decade-long period. And, yeah, there's little changes here and there. But for the most part, it looks the same. It feels the same. It acts the same. It's all that sort of stuff. Whereas AEW, like you said, a 2019 episode of Dynamite, a 2020 episode, obviously because of the pandemic, that throws that off. But even then, 2021 is going to look very different than 2019 did. And I think 2022 also, we saw several more changes than that. And then, 2023 and now 2024. What I would say, though, is I do think that if I had to say of any of those years, if there's any year that has kind of felt very similar year to year, I do feel like 2023 and 2024 have felt very similar in the sense that, yes, you have Osprey, you have Okada, you have Mercedes, you have different talent in there. The talent is always going to be, but in terms of the look and feel of the show, it does feel like AEW has kind of, in my mind, sort of settled into an identity that they want and a look and a feel that they want, but that identity is also undefinable. And you talked about that a little bit on this week's episode of the Thursday Dynamite review, where you went pretty hard on this week's Dynamite and went pretty hard on AEW in terms of what do you guys want to be? What are you supposed to be? What am I supposed to think about this company? What are you? Are you as you coined it several times, a stupid sports entertainment company, or are you where the best wrestle? Are you the Continental Classic? Are you the sports based and focused wrestling promotion that you told us you were going to be 5 months ago or whatever, and 5 years ago as well? It's something that's been reiterated a bunch of times. And I feel like what they've done in the last 2 years, last 18 months, if you want to say 14, 18 months, somewhere in that range, has sort of settled into the we are a sports entertainment variety show in a lot of ways. Where 2019 felt like but we don't know exactly what we're going to be, but we're something. Those early Dynamites, those early AEW pay-per-views, you go back and watch those. And I haven't done that all that often, but every time I do go back, it's pretty stark. It's like they're throwing a lot of stuff at the wall, but a lot of stuff is different and unique, and it looks different, and it feels different, and it sounds different. And it wasn't all good. I'm not saying because it was, different than what we have now, it was good, but you could tell this is a very early fledgling wrestling company, challenger brand that's trying to figure out what they're going to be, who they're going to be, what their ethos is going to be, what their identity is going to be, and it doesn't all land, but I appreciated it in the time. And then you go to 2020, and now 2020 is a whole different thing because you said like the pandemic. But what that also created in AEW is, like you said, this sense of camaraderie, this sense of, okay, we have to all kind of band together here, because if we don't do this, it's all gone. If we don't come here every single week and do something that TNT can air and something that they can put on television, this thing's done. So we have to exist. And it actually bred a pretty decent era as far as pandemic wrestling goes. And I'm not really planning on ever going back and watching, pandemic. Maybe I'll watch a pay-per-view main event here and there. But the idea of like sitting down and watching multiple weeks of pandemic era wrestling, I'm like, that's just never going to happen in my lifetime. But they did, I think, and we talked about it even at the time, they did the best job of adjusting on the fly and figuring out how to make the most of this pandemic as shit. This is a terrible situation that we've been given. It's a terrible situation for the world, but what can we do to make this work the best possible way? And I think AEW did a fantastic job of navigating the pandemic in terms of doing the shows at Daly's Place, having the quote-unquote crowd be people from backstage, just so they were making noise, just so they were doing something. Like, people forget when when the pandemic first started, WWE's idea was, we're going to go to the Performance Center and do episodes of Raw shooting to rows of empty chairs while an oscillating fan, a ceiling fan, I should say, makes all the noise for the show. Like, those early pandemic Raws were rows of empty chairs and then while guys cut promos. It was like, what? And then AEW said, well, why shoot to the empty? Why don't we shoot towards our stage? And it was like brilliant. And then everybody kind of started to do that too. Everybody started shooting to their stage and said, why are we going to shoot hard cam? We don't have to, the hard cam could go wherever we want. There's no crowd. We could have the hard cam go wherever it needs to be. But I thought AEW did a great job of adjusting on the fly. And like you said, doing things with dark and bringing in new talents and having interesting things. And I thought they took the challenge of the pandemic on better than anybody could have ever imagined. And they came out ahead, because they came out of the pandemic with Turner and WBD saying, okay, we believe in you guys. Here you go. Now here's your extension. Because, we forget that they were on that, ad share deal when they first started, and whatever the contents of that deal, we don't know. But essentially that first deal that they got during, in 2020 was essentially okay, we believe in you guys. You can survive. Here's a little bit of money now to put your show on. And it's not like the TV deal that they're going to, whatever the next TV deal they're going to sign, like you always say, is going to transform their business, because it's going to make them solvent. It's going to make them, it's going to be a night and day difference between their cash flow now and their cash flow after they get that TV deal. But again, the pandemic, I think they adjusted on the fly and did things that really, really made the most of the situation. And then you come out of the pandemic, and you come out of the pandemic red hot, because it's like you've built up during the pandemic. You've done really good television that a lot of people have really enjoyed, and good pay-per-views, and made the best of a horrible situation. Oh, yeah, and you added Bryan Danielson, and you added CM Punk, and you had all these stories going. And they were an embarrassment of riches in 2021. It was like this company could do no wrong in 2021, and those shows felt so energetic when they came out of the pandemic, back to those touring buildings, and fans were able to be in the building again. And it just felt like this is the hottest wrestling show you've ever seen in your entire life. It was a red hot show, firing on all cylinders. All the stories were working. Everything just seemed like it was working great. And then I don't know where that next era kind of comes in. I don't know if you want to make it Cody leaving. I don't know if you want to make it All Out 2022. I don't know if you want to make it Forbidden Door, when it seemed like things were kind of like very, off the rails, or the Ring of Honor purchase, whatever it may be, whatever that period is. And then bam, that thing that happens right there is the big inflection point with the company, where now it feels like their well-laid plans are now kind of thrown for a loop. And now they're just kind of, things change a lot in AEW now. And I think that's the thing that they might look the same, because they go to the same buildings now. The graphics look largely the same. They do little minor differences here and there. The look and the feel of the show, it kind of has a, you're watching a Dynamite from this era or whatever. But like we've been talking about, the identity of the company since then. The identity of the company since that point, whatever that fight, whether it's Cody leaving, All Out, the Brawl Out situation, whatever you want to do, that whatever that inflection point is, from that point forward, it never felt like they were pulling in the same direction ever again. It never felt like they had a one clear thing of what we're going to be and what our identity is going to be, other than maybe their identity is we're a sports entertainment variety show. And I don't know if that's their identity right now. And I guess that's my question to you. I don't know.
They would never call themselves that, but that's clearly what they are. when you have a goofy gimmick like Timeless Tony, and which one week is played for laughs, then the next week it's a heel, then the next week she's a baby face, and the nature of the gimmick, when you have that spot with Malachi Black last night where they're dumping that goo onto that blood or the goo on top of him, when you have Darby Allin being driven to the arena by on-screen character Tony Khan, who's the good guy authority figure,
right?
warring with,
like, imagine that in 2021. You know what I'm saying? Like,
they couldn't.
They
They
couldn't
would laugh at that. They would this is the stuff they mocked in 2021. This is the stuff CM Punk would mock in his promos. This is the stuff Tony Khan would mock in his press conferences. But now we have a good guy authority figure warring with the heel authority figures. And man, I don't know. It's maybe some people are into that, but this is not what I ever wanted out of this company. And I don't think it's what a lot of people ever wanted out of this company. This type of sports entertainment style pro wrestling. And it's extremely disappointing to me that this is what they are now. And this is what they've been basically since the MJF title reign last spring. All last year, this is what it was. And then they got away with it. They got away from it a little bit with the Continental Classic, and we all put our fucking money where our fucking mouths were. And, it got universal praise. It did. It was a hit in the ratings. It was a mild hit in the ratings week to week, the Continental Classic. And then
it felt like a turn. It felt like it felt, I mean, he went on that World's End media call and said, we've done the experiment, and the ratings uptick and all this uptick, I think, is because we've done more sports-based presentation and we've done these sort of things. And that was his
Tony's words, by the way.
Tony's words 5 months ago. Tony's words.
This isn't Joe and Rich, the sports entertainment haters, projecting. These were his words. He said that.
Right. 5 months ago. He said it 5 years ago when he started the company, but then he reiterated it 5 months ago.
And he reiterated 5 months ago.
Yeah.
And used the word sports-based presentation. And then also coined a little catchphrase for the company, "Where the best wrestle," to go along with it.
And that felt like, okay, now here's their identity. And that's the thing that I kind of am talking about.
And here we go. We got Continental Classic, and we're bringing in Okada, and we're bringing in Will Osprey, and we're bringing in the best American women's wrestler of all time. And we're saying this is where the best wrestle. And we just had this G1 style tournament. And the tone of the television has changed now that the MJF title reign is behind us. And the owner of the company is telling us we're going back, and we tried some different things and that. And then that lasted a few weeks, and we thought that was going to be the direction that they were going to move in again, and now we have heel authority figures warring with a babyface authority figure, and we have the owner of the company as a character on the show, which is something that at one point in time he said he would never do. And he can go on his little conference calls, all his little media calls, and all he wants, and say he's on the show 1% of the time. Doesn't matter. You're a character on the show now. Okay, you drove Darby Allin to the building as a character on the show. Okay, you participated in an angle. So it's doing all of these things that they said they weren't going to do. And and I'm not even saying that this is a failure. I'm not saying they're failing. We come on here every week and we're going to talk about it later. And we're one of the few outlets that's confident that they're going to get a new and fruitful television deal.
Yes, they're going to get a boatload of money very, very soon, I believe, from Warner Brothers Discovery. Very soon.
I agree. Despite everything we're saying, where we're disappointed, despite all of that, they're a massively successful startup, and Dynamite is a massive cable hit, no matter what anybody says. Okay? But this company, this promotion, does not have an identity right now. They don't have an identity. This is a promotion with no standards and no identity. And that was the big theme on my review today. I called it a silly little sports entertainment promotion. That's what it is. It's a silly little sports entertainment promotion. And I don't even mean that necessarily as like something super negative. It's just a silly television show.
It's what I think they are right now. I mean, if you want to come up with the identity of all those different eras, like you said, the first era was challenger brand, a startup or whatever you want to call it for that 2019 to the pandemic. era, of AEW was, startup, challenger brand, whatever it may be. Like I said, trying a lot of things, not all of them succeeding, but kind of figuring out your place in this world and your place in this wrestling world. And I thought they did a lot of really, really cool, a lot of really different stuff. People might forget. Go back and watch those early Dynamites. There's a lot of interesting things that they try. And ways to tell pro wrestling stories that were different, different than what had been done for a lot of years, and it felt like a jolt to a lot of people. And some people, and we made fun of those people at the time that were crying and complaining about some of the things that they did. The rankings being one of them, where people were like, I don't understand what's going on. And we're like, this is great. This is great. Rankings are good because it's something different, it's something unique, and it keeps the booking honest. So I am all for it. And some people couldn't handle it, and some people couldn't understand it, and some people had, whatever it may be. But that, to me, that was that first era of AEW. Is we're going to try a lot of things. Maybe all of it's not going to work, but we're going to try to be different. And it felt like that first era of AEW went out of its way to be different in a lot of different ways. And the pandemic is just trying to survive. You know what I mean? Like doing a lot of different things, but essentially just trying to make sure that we survive. But I thought they, again, like I said at the top, like I thought they navigated the pandemic, unbelievably well, and came out of it with 2021 with, I don't know what you would call the identity of kind of 2021 era AEW, maybe just like firing on all cylinders, or just the best version of a challenger brand you could possibly. I mean, that's the era where they're getting kind of close to WWE's numbers in terms of raw ratings and stuff, like getting pretty damn close. We always said a lot of that was more because WWE was tripping on their own dick, but it also is a testament to AEW, finding a niche in that audience and saying, hey, here's how we're different. Oh, yeah, and we just brought back CM Punk. And, oh, yeah, we also have Bryan Danielson. And, oh, yeah, Kenny Omega's. It just got done after having an incredible run during the pandemic. Oh, yeah, the Young Bucks are still here. Oh, yeah, the Lucha Brothers are still here. Oh, yeah, Hangman Page is now ready to go and is a world championship level contender. It's just like they had an embarrassment of riches. Oh, here's FTR. They were kind of a joke on the main roster of WWE. Now they're one of the best tag teams in the world. Like, I don't know, I don't know what that identity of that era of AEW was, but it felt like something. I don't know how to define it. Do you have a good idea of how to define that 2021 era, the out of the pandemic to whatever this next era is going to be? I don't know if there's a clear.
Sure, the good era.
Yeah, the best era of the company. Yeah, remember the promos every week. Every week it was just like
when Dynamite and all the pay-per-views rocked.
Yeah,
every week. Yeah. And ratings were good and people were buying tickets. That's what it was.
That was the era where ratings were good and tickets were sold and pay-per-views were great.
Yeah, and all the crowds were hot, and now there's this where there's 2,000 people at a Dynamite because, and it's look, and again, I like MJF. Who was touting MJF before anybody in media?
20? Yeah, I don't even remember the year we started talking about MJF, but it was well before anybody else did.
Well, it was Maxwell Jacob Feinstein.
It was Feinstein. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So don't anybody tell me now. Do I like what he tends to like in his? No. Do I think he's a generational talent? I do. Do I think he's going to help when he returns? Absolutely. He's going to inject star power into the show. He's going to have his typical great promos. He has become one of the best workers in the business. Okay. I like MJF. Did I like his 2023? No. I mean, I think I'm pretty strong
really?
On record with that one. Okay.
Wait, what? Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
But this idea that he's going to come back and be a savior when it was his top run in the company that started the sink, I think is humorous. I think it's a little bit of wishful thinking from some people. I think it's forgetting that it was during the MJF run and the storyline with Adam Cole that ticket sales started to slow. Now, look, did the post CM Punk stuff have something to do with it too? Is it all MJF's fault? No, of course not. There's always a number of factors. Okay. But ticket sales and to a degree ratings, and I'm not as down on the ratings as a lot of people are. I think the ratings, look, would you like to see growth? Would you like to see ratings be better? You always would. But do I think that Dynamite is still a massive cable hit? Do I think they're going to get a new contract? Yes, I do. But as far as the ticket sales, you point that's where it began. And so this idea that MJF is going to moonwalk back in, I do think it's funny that he's earmarked to return right around the time that the NBA and NHL playoffs end, Little
Hulkamania.
MJ Hogan's back, huh? MJ Hogan's
MJ
back.
Hogan, MJ.
MJ
Yeah,
Hogan's
Hulk
back.
Hogan, man, he took a lot of breaks. Let me tell you, May and June. Go look at how many Hulk Hogan appearances in WCW occurred between April, May, and June, and how many of them occurred in July. He was always back by July, man.
It's look. I think that the larger point I was going to make was the era you're referring to when Punk came in and Danielson came in and Adam Cole came in and the company was hot. That was the peak era of the company in every way, in both show quality, in business. In every measurable way.
It felt like a lot of star power. A lot of, and that's people in the chat room right now are talking about that, of like how many people in that company felt like stars at that time. Hangman Page, an ascending star. Kenny Omega, a star. The Young Bucks, stars. CM Punk, a star. MJF, a star. You know, Adam Cole comes in as a star. Bryan Danielson comes in as a star. Like, I'm probably missing guys too that felt like, holy shit, these guys, it felt like they have an unlimited number of, this thing it'll never end. They have 12 people that are stars and felt like stars and felt like big deals. And it's not counting a Chris Jericho, who's always there and felt like a star, especially at that time too. Still, as well.
Listen, I don't.
John
I
Moxley,
don't care.
I didn't even mention John Moxley, for God's sakes, right?
I have never been afraid to have an unpopular opinion. I still contend that Chris Jericho is the all-time MVP of the company. I don't give a shit what you think of him personally. I don't give a shit what you think of his current gimmick. I don't give a shit about what stupid Twitter narratives are out there or whatever else. Chris Jericho, when you look historically, is probably the MVP of the company. I mean, I don't know if they, as the first champion, how important that was. Right through last week when he had the highest rated quarter-hour segment on the show, even though we're told that nobody wants him on TV and everybody wants him to go away. Funny how that works. But look, there's plenty of stars now. I just don't know if the pieces are being put in the right place. Well, there should be, because when you sign, that's my point. When you sign Will Osprey, Kazuchika Okada, and Mercedes Moné, and you add them to a pot, and you already have practically everyone you just named, with the exception of CM Punk, still there. You have Adam Cole with an injury, and you have Hangman Page, who just, for some reason, never comes to work. Okay, I understand they just had a baby. That kid is like about to turn 7, though. When's this guy coming back to work? So just about all those people are still there. But it's about utilizing these pieces and putting them in the right places. And they seem to no longer do a great job of that. And I think the larger point I was making earlier with setting up my point by saying how much I like MJF and admire MJF, and I think MJF is going to be a Pro Wrestling Hall of Famer someday. Okay, I want to make that very clear. I think he's a brilliant mind. I think he's a one of the best pure wrestlers, and he wasn't. And he's not someone that I thought would be. He was a below average wrestler, early in his career, and he worked hard on that. And you can tell he takes pride in everything he does, not just his promo and his character work. Guys had some of the best matches in AEW history. Okay. But I think, beginning with last year and that era, I don't think there's any doubt that a large portion of what used to exist of the AEW fan base is just not interested in this style of presentation. And if people want to argue with me, I can point to business. I can point to facts. I can point to attendance. I can point to television ratings. I don't want to point to the television ratings, but I could if I wanted to. I could point to ticket sales, though, for sure. I'm just not sure that the fan base that they cultivated early on and the fan base that they cultivated when they were at their best in 2021 wants to see that. I don't think that they want to see heel authority figures feuding with the owner of the company, which they have seen ad nauseum for the last 25 years in every other American wrestling promotion. We thought this was going to be something different. And this isn't just no fun Lanza. I think a lot of people think like I do. Okay? Not everybody listening might. I think there's a lot of fans that think like I do. And I think they're not buying tickets anymore. I wouldn't buy an AEW ticket if they ran across the street. I wouldn't. I mean, I haven't. They've come within an hour of me and I don't bother. I don't want to go to a show like they had last night on that. I didn't even think that Dynamite was that bad, but I don't want to go to a show like that. I have no interest in that.
No.
2021. That's another story.
Well, and you talk about it like, that's not a show. That's a show that I can be perfectly content watching from home. I'm not going to love it, but what? I'm not going to run home from work or leave work, late and drive right there and meet my friends and do all that, the sort of stuff that I would do. And I did do in 2019 and 2021 and 2022 and said, you know what? Fuck it. I'll inconvenience myself in any way possible. I got to be in the building for that show. I have to be in the building for that show. And that was the case for every Dynamite, every AEW show that came through Chicago. I was there, and I made sure I was there. And moving forward, if I'm not doing anything, if I got nothing going on that day, maybe. But I'm not the second the tickets go on sale buyer like I used to be. I'm just not. And I'm not. There has been shows that have been in Chicago recently that I've said, that's all right. I'll watch from home. If I got nothing going on.
You're not the only one. Right. Remember when they owned the city of Chicago?
Owned it.
Remember when they owned the city of New York and were outdrawing WWE in New York?
Remember that show we did?
Remember?
We did that show talking about how Bruno Sammartino was spitting in his grave because Orange Cassidy just came in and sold out Arthur Ashe in your own backyard or whatever. That was a great show that we did those many years ago.
So something changed, and I think it is very reductive and very easy to just say, oh, well, WWE got better. I don't think that's not a factor, but I do not think that that's the easy explanation for all of this, because I think that there's, a lot of fans out there like me, like us, who still haven't returned to WWE. I still think WWE stinks. I know I'm not the only one who thinks that way. The problem is AEW continually creeps closer and closer to the type of programming that is typically associated with WWE and the type of storytelling that's associated with WWE. And I don't know if it's Tony Khan just adding so many people to the room over the years that there's a lot of voices who only know that style of television presentation. It seems that's all anyone knows in pro wrestling. What did we stress from the beginning? Get new voices in there who haven't worked in pro wrestling, who haven't had power in pro wrestling. And slowly but surely, what have we done? We've filled the room with people who have come from all of these other promotions that have always done things the same way. So I don't know if it's that. I don't know if Tony has a couple of close confidants who have all of these bad ideas that he's listening to. I don't know if it's Tony that has all of these bad ideas and everyone's afraid to stand up to him, because I don't know what the process is anymore, because they're much more closed doors and secretive than they used to be. But I do know they've made a lot of hires from WWE, including Jen Pepperman, who, it's a soap. This is your prototypical bad WWE television writer,
right?
From
the one we used to make fun of. Remember back in the old, on the Wrestling Observer boards or wherever board you were on, IGN board or IGN Wrestling board or whatever random wrestling message board you used to be on. We all used to make fun of the soap opera writers. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of people probably listening to this show were in that same place, and I know you were in that place. I know I was in that place where that was the thing that you bitched about in the mid 2000s. These soap opera writers, these goddamn soap opera writers. It was like, and not all of them were soap opera writers, but that just became the overarching term for the people that are writing the show that is bad. We're going to call them soap opera writers, and now here's a literal soap opera writer that's in the company and wielding a lot of power.
And it's adding a lot of people that only know of one way to do it, and it's kind of diluted AEW's identity, and they don't really have an identity because they bounce back and forth now. It's MJF goes away to heal up, and Tony talks all that smack about going back to sports-based presentation. It lasts for a couple weeks, and now we've got heel authority figures warring with babyface authority figures, which is the most derivative, backwards, reductive storyline you could possibly do. I don't care how good the Bucks have been. I don't want it.
For 10
I don't want it.
There is 10 plus years. How many years at this point? 13 years of audio of us hating and making fun of and getting mad about heel authority figures. So it's not, I don't care who does the role. I don't care if the role's done well. I don't want it. I don't want it. I've had it. I've had so much of it. I don't want it ever again. And if you don't believe me, listen back to the last 13 years of audio that we've done where we've made it very clear that authority figures, particularly heel authority figures, not what we want out of our wrestling. Just not what I want out of my wrestling. And why would anybody want out of their wrestling? How have you not got enough heel authority figures in your wrestling? Who has watched in the last 2 decades and says, yes, finally a heel authority figure. It's been done to death. Please tell a different story. Please.
Well, how about not having any authority figure, period? Just
Great.
Don't have any authority
Love
figure.
it. They didn't.
Just don't.
AEW didn't. The early days didn't. Matches just happened because they happened.
Just don't tell us who's making the matches. Don't just make the fucking matches and put
AEW matchmakers. You want to call them AEW matchmakers in the back? That's fine. Say AEW matchmakers.
Just have an anonymous voice of God that just here's the match. I mean, why do we have to have an authority figure? I don't understand. It would be something that would set you apart if you didn't. Now we're doing the same old shit that's been done before. We're the best wrestle, but Okada never wrestles. Okay. We're the best wrestle, but Mercedes hasn't wrestled. All right. She was hurt, I guess. We suspect. I don't know. So what is the identity of this promotion? Darby Allin coming out with a flamethrower. I mean, I just roll my eyes. This is their version of a milk truck or a beer truck. That's what this is. What was his plan? To char the Elite to death with the flamethrower? Is that what we're supposed to believe?
Yes.
Okay, so we're doing a show for imbeciles now, like the other company does, where we think he's just going to use a flamethrower on the Elite and kill them.
Right. We're doing Braun Strowman lifting a semi truck and throwing it at a guy, and that.
Yes. Yeah. Which it's we can get that elsewhere. That's always been my point. There's just no identity. There is no standards anymore. I mean, we had 2 people win a 3-way match last night. Okay. We're just making up rules as we go, Rich. It's a cute little thing. That was a cute little idea someone came up with. Either Jericho or whoever the fuck. Oh, here, we're going to do a 3-way at the pay-per-view. So let's have Hook and Shibata.
I think it's even worse than that. I think it was they realized they had Hook and Jericho coming up at the pay-per-view, said, fuck, we don't really want either of these guys to lose. How do we get out of this? I got it. Let's make it a 3-way dance. For a fact someone said 3-way dance in the room, for sure. And then they decided, how can we get Shibata in the match? Oh, I got it. You can have both bid. And then Jericho can say, I got an idea. Let's do a triple threat match, a 3-way match at the pay-per-view. Like, you can see how the wheels got there, but it's again, it's all sort of, it feels very much like you're just kind of making up rules and you're just kind of doing, and that's it felt like for a very long time in that company. That's something that I really liked about it, is that it did feel, now while they were in those early days trying to figure out what those rules were, it felt like at least what we always said is they existed in a universe that is real. It was a real universe. These people and wrestlers existed in the real world. The wrestling universe was their universe. The real universe was their universe. And now it feels very much like the WWE universe. It now feels like the AEW universe. Things just kind of happen. People can commit horrific crimes. And it's just, things just happen. You know what I mean? And it's just, it's whatever. And wrestling's supposed to be a little goofy. I get it. It's supposed to be a little, but it doesn't have to be stupid. It doesn't have to be dumb. It should still be logical. And I get a lot of people, push back on us a lot about that. Come on, guy, who cares? We can't be no, we can nitpick everything. The shit's not that hard, and it can be better, and it should be better. And AEW presented itself as being better. AEW presented itself as being changing the world and changing the game and doing different things. And hell, you know what? They got a lot more people jobs in wrestling. They changed the pay structure forever in pro wrestling, and I'm happy for them, and I'm glad for them. They did that. But we didn't change much else. Because look at the show right now. This is just a wrestling show. It's just another wrestling show. Shit.
And who says it has to be a little goofy? Where's that law? I mean, why do we always say that? Why do we always say, oh, it's got to be a little fun and zany and goofy. It has to be a variety show. Who says? It could be whatever you want it to be. And the thing is, they had a clean slate starting from scratch and had a chance to make it whatever they wanted it to be. And now we're 5 years in, and this is where we're at. The same old shit that I can watch on Impact Wrestling or WWE over the last 25 years. Because that's what this is. Heel authority figures warring with the babyface owner. I mean, you could almost guarantee we're going to have a match for control of the company soon. Do you have any doubt that's coming?
Oh, Blood and Guts. Blood and Guts 100% is going to be a match for control of the company.
Control of the company. And, you know, it's not like those sorts of things have never been. And there's probably someone screaming at their app right now, at their device. Oh, well, we've had matches like that in wrestling for years. Yes, that's my point. Thank you.
Exactly. Right. Thank you for
that's
making
that is
making
my
our point
Thank
for
you
us.
Yeah, you just now you get it. That's what I'm complaining about. Didn't have to be this way. I don't want to see the same shit that I've been seeing forever. You know, and they've had 5 years to figure out how to be different and form an identity. They have no identity. This company has no identity, none. And
well, like you challenge people on the Dynamite review. Not to interrupt you. You challenge somebody on the Dynamite review. And people, we could do it in the chat room right now if people want to do it in the chat room right now. What is AEW's identity? Do it in one sentence. Give us one. What is it? One sentence that the identity of the company. If you had to sell elevator pitch AEW to somebody, what is the elevator pitch for AEW?
Yeah, I'm a prospective television home because WBD doesn't want you anymore, and I say to you, yeah, I know pro wrestling, Hulk Hogan and Stone Cold Steve Austin. Okay, well, tell me what you are. I mean, it has no identity. And it's just loaded with too many fucking stories, all of which have holes, a million fucking holes in them. I mean, once you go down this road of heel authority figures and sports entertainment style bullshit, once you go down this road, now you're faced with conundrums like this. If the Bucks don't want Bryan Danielson in that match, instead of setting up these Dr. Evil style convoluted traps that backfire, like sending Satnam Singh after him, why don't they just fire him like they did Christopher Daniels? Just fire him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and nobody can counter that with a reasonable answer. Why don't they just take him out of the match? They made Christian a number one contender because they felt like it and made that match. They're making matches. They're firing people. Just fire them. Why put hits out on them? Why make it difficult? And see, it's stupid that we're even talking about this. It's dumb to even have this conversation.
But it's dumb because they made it dumb.
Yeah, these are the dumb, stupid, reductive conversations you end up having when you have dumb, stupid, reductive storylines like heel authority figures. So that's not my fault. But can someone answer that for me? Why don't they just fucking fire the guy if they don't want to wrestle him?
Right, because again, they fired Daniels, and then it's not like anybody could it's not like Tony rehired him. We got Daniels in the back, crying, and then he's fired, and then he's just gone. So it's like, well, they could just do the same for Danielson, right? They could just say,
whip up a reason to get rid of him.
Right. They don't need a reason. Why do they need a reason? They run the company, right?
Yeah, they fired Christopher Daniels, and he's gone, and they make matches when they feel like it.
Mm-hmm.
They run the show.
They made the world title match.
And yeah, that's what. And these and people are going, oh well, now you could poke a hole. No. Don't look at me. They did this. Not me. They created this world where they just make rules as they go. With these dumb, reductive storylines. So dumb, reductive storylines lead to dumb, reductive conversations.
Mm-hmm.
The same kinds of conversations we have when we break down WWE over the last 13 years.
Right, and the same reason we've stopped over the last 5 years actually breaking down WWE because it's stupid pointless to do those. Yes.
And if they keep doing stories like this, they'll be pointless to break any of this down. And it's the same reason, when TNA would go off the rails over the years, there's no point. Because they make their own rules as they go. So what's the point of analyzing it or caring what they're doing? So it's like, but instead, the Young Bucks construct these Dr. Evil-like plots to get rid of Danielson. And it's just like in the movie where Scott says to his dad, just shoot him in the head. Well, just shoot Danielson in the head. Just fire him. You've established in the canon that you can do that. I feel dumber for even talking about this shit. Sound familiar?
Yeah.
That's what this company is now. They don't have an identity. Because then a month from now, or in the fall, they're going to, Tony's going to tell us to put our fucking money where our fucking mouths are and watch the Continental Classic, where it's a rule that no one can interfere. You have to have a rule where no one, otherwise interference is okay.
Yeah. Oh my God. This week's Dynamite, man. There was just run-ins and beatdowns and DQs and bloodbaths and cars. And it was just like, man, where have we gone? What is happening here? And now, you need to establish, hey guys, in this tournament, you can't interfere. It's like, well, hold on a minute. Why just do it all the time then? why would you not always?
You can establish that all the time. Yeah. But it's the same reason why in 3-way and 4-way matches, it's perfectly legal, Cole. And there's no DQs. Why?
Because it's easy.
Because it's a booking crutch and it's easier. If you wanted to, you could have DQs in 3-ways and 4-ways. If someone does something to cheat, they are disqualified and they get sent to the back. Now, the 4-way is a 3-way. But it's easier to allow that shit because it's easier to book it that way. And then what it resembles all of the other wrestling, and this is another, again, right back to my point, resembles all the wrestling that we've been watching.
Well, I thought this week too. This week too, I thought, and there's something that a lot of people haven't been really talking about, and maybe I'm making too much of it, but this week they did a disqualification. A match ended in a disqualification. Bryan Danielson, Satnam Singh ended in a disqualification. Now they don't do that very often. I can probably count on one hand the amount of straight up disqualifications that they've done in this company. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they don't do them often, yeah.
Very rarely. They did it this week to protect Satnam Singh. That leads me to believe, like you keep saying, what are the standards? What are the standards? Did somebody in the room say, we don't want Singh to lose. Just do a DQ. And then we moved on and that was it? Because 2019 AEW, that's not working. 2020 AEW, that's not going to work. 2021 AEW, that's a non-starter of, well, how do we get out of this? Just do a DQ. Because if they would have, then we would have had thousands of DQs in this company by this point, and we don't, and we didn't, and we haven't. But the fact that this week it was just so matter-of-factly, just use the DQ. We don't want Satnam to lose, so DQ. That to me I thought was very telling because I was like, okay, now we really don't have those same sort of. Because if we're able to work ourselves into Satnam Singh, we could just have him lose via DQ. How about that? That's not good. You know what I mean? Like that tells me that's we're laying on a few other crutches, like you said, those booking crutches. Like we're looking for more of those crutches to get out of telling stories
and making up rules as we go. We could have 2 people win 1 match.
Why? Fuck you.
We
that's
can just
why.
do what we want because we don't have any standards. Okay, someone with some balls. If when that was pitched in the room, should have said, "No, that's ridiculous. We're not treating our audience that way."
But who would say that in the room?
I would if I was in it.
Yeah, well, you're not in it. And you're not
You
going to
don't
be
think I would?
I know you would, but you're not. That's why you're not getting in that room.
Rich, if I was in that room, I'd be fired in a month. Well,
Paperwork. You think the paperwork would take too long? I don't think you're lasting a month. I think you're lasting 1 episode of Dynamite.
Does anybody have any guts to say, hey, this is stupid. We can't insult our audience by having 2 people win 1 match? We have to establish some standards here. It's I used to be in charge of fucking pizzeria managers, and I would tell them making their 50, 60,000 a year. Listen, you can't have half standard. You either have standards or you have no standards. You either do everything right or you're not doing enough right. How are there not, you got to have standards or you don't have any. And this company doesn't have any standards, right? And they have no identity. It's a silly little sports entertainment company. And listen, that's fine if that's what they want to be. But I know what they are now. They're a silly little sports entertainment company that has really good matches sometimes.
Yep.
Less often than they used to, by the way. But I don't want to do that today.
No. But
When's the last time they had a Dynamite that had like 3 great matches? That used to be somewhat a normal occurrence.
Mm-hmm.
How often does that happen now? You're lucky to get 1 great match. You get a couple of really good ones. What used to be my bar on the review for a great Dynamite? Great matches, great promos, and a lot of shit happens. Those were the 3 check boxes that a Dynamite had to hit for me to be considered a great Dynamite. You had to have at least 1 great match, but they usually would have more than 1. You used to have to have great promos. How often do you have a great promo on Dynamite these days?
Very rarely.
You get a couple a month.
You get good. Sometimes you still get some good backstage promos, like here and there, but very rarely do you have guys like I talked about that 2021 era, man. You go back and watch some of those, and I was in the ring. I was in the ring. I was there live for a couple of them. CM Punk and MJF having their promo battle in the ring. You had Eddie Kingston and CM Punk having that great promo battle in the ring. I mean, you had all these sort of things where guys would get in the ring and they would just go at it. You know what I mean? And it felt organic and it felt unique and the crowd was on the edge of their seat. And yeah, it's no, you don't, you really.
How often do you tick all 3 boxes?
Very rarely do you tick all 3. Very rarely do you tick all 3 these days.
Great matches, plural. Great promos, and a lot of shit happens.
You might get 1 of each, maybe
on 1 Dynamite a month. There used to be runs where it was like, where I would review the show and I'd be like, that's the 6th Dynamite in a row. That was fucking incredible. What a run of TV. It's been a month and a half of nothing but great television. That is a fucking dream now. That's like, forget it. They can't go an hour of a great Dynamite, let alone have 6 great Dynamites in a row. And because there's no identity. Now, if they're going to be a silly little sports entertainment promotion that has great matches every now and then and has kick-ass pay-per-views every month, that's okay. I'll enjoy that. You know the funny thing? I enjoy AEW, despite this segment. I do enjoy the company. It's a disappointing company. It can be so much more and so much better so easily. They are wasting a world-class roster. This is arguably the greatest roster ever assembled. One of them. Is it producing like that? No. No one would argue that it is. Nobody's sane. I mean, look at this roster. How are they not having the greatest run of television of all time with this fucking roster? You got Will Osprey on this roster. You got Kazuchika Okada. You got Sasha Banks. And you got everybody else Rich named earlier with the exception of CM Punk. They're all still there. A couple of them are out injured. That's going to happen. Why are the TVs like this? Why? Doesn't make any sense to me. These should be all-time great Dynamites, and you should be staring at your fucking watch, counting down the minutes till Collision. I don't think, for whatever reason, 5 years in, they're not interested in being drastically different or different at all at this point than what we've been seeing for the last 24. They're just not. So you have to lower your expectations. I have. I mean, I think I'm done. Just, they're not going to fool me either ever again. Because the few times where they've said, we're going to get back to, we're going to restore the feeling. They even have said that on TV.
that was a thing that got said on television. Yes.
That fan term, and they put it on TV. They talked about restoring the feeling. It's fleeting. It lasts a couple of weeks, and then we're right back to this. So I don't buy it anymore. And it'll happen again. It might even happen this weekend because this pay-per-view is going to be great. You look at that lineup, this pay-per-view is going to be great. And they might have a great pay-per-view, and Tony might be all pumped up in the presser, and he might talk about he could talk a big game all he wants, because that match for control of the company is around the corner.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And it's just, all right, I'll
with,
watch it.
With the Elite wearing the Elite
enjoy it.
T-shirts and AEW guys wearing AEW T-shirts. You know what I mean? You can see
might
it
as
happen.
well.
Right?
Just get them out there in their T-shirts. Yeah. Because if that's in the room who's giving you these ideas, that's what you're going to put on the screen. I mean, I personally, and I know some of them listen, I'd clean out that whole fucking room. You'd all go. I'd replace them all. You know why? Because Dynamite's drawing 2,000 fans. I need fresh, new, vibrant, different ideas. I'm replacing the room.
Well, also, I mean, I guess with the top guy, you know, we always talk about as well, the length of time that a booker can be very good in wrestling used to be very, very short. And the territory
but he ain't
days.
going anywhere.
I know, but I'm saying, is that a moment where you maybe look in the mirror and go, okay, look.
That ain't happening.
I know. Should it?
But it's like, why even fantasy book that? He's not going anywhere. I mean, that's the constant. But one thing I've learned about Tony Khan, he very much is a reflection of who's around him. Think about it.
Yeah, he's a people pleaser in a lot of ways.
He's a people pleaser. He's a nice guy. Yeah, even CM Punk said that in a condescending asshole CM Punk way. But even he said,
right,
"Hey, look, Tony's a nice guy."
In a roundabout way, yeah. While also burying the guy under the fucking earth, yeah. Also said, nice guy.
My point here is, you knew when Cody's shit was on screen.
Yes.
You know when the Bucks shit is on screen, for better or worse, right? They're about 50-50 with me. Okay. You can see certain ideas shine through and you can be pretty confident in assigning them. You know, so Tony is often a reflection of who's in that room with him. I think that room needs to be gutted. It needs to be gutted. And not just because what we're getting on screen doesn't suit my personal sensibilities. 2,000 people were at Dynamite last night. Where's the final count for that?
Yeah, let me get the final count from WrestleTix. Yeah.
Before I get the freakazoids mad at me. But the point is,
they weren't hanging from the rafters.
There wasn't a lot of people.
Yeah, they weren't hanging from the rafters.
There wasn't a lot of people.
Yeah.
Okay?
It wasn't super no vacancy. It was not super no vacancy in Bakersfield. I'll tell you that. Whatever that number might have been, it was not super no vacancy. Let's see if I can get it for you here. Scrolling. Mechanics Bank Arena, Bakersfield, California. Tickets distributed 2,303.
I mean, come on, man. We're at the Fernwood Resorts right now. I mean, we are
the Mechanics Bank Arena in Bakersfield, California. Come on, man.
It is, and look, it's when do you stand up in the room and say, I need results? I mean, anyone in a leadership position or management has to stand up in a room at some point and say, we need results, or there's going to be new people here. I mean, is that happening? These ideas aren't working. This shit doesn't work. So, and again, and I'm going to make one more point. We can't do this the whole show.
No.
We got to preview the pay-per-view and everything else. I'll make one more key point here. And then, Rich, you can make whatever points you want to make. This is why I always defended the rankings. Okay? This is why I always laughed at people who would get bogged down in, why is the Dark Order ranked third when they never win on TV? These don't make any sense, while they scratch their fucking head. Okay? Like a bunch of dummies missing the point. Picking on things that don't matter, like who's number 3 and who's number 4, and they should be flip-flopped, or why is this person not ranked, and completely missing the point of what the rankings did for that company. Okay? What the rankings did, and you can almost go back and point to the time when the rankings went away to when shit started going downhill in terms of clear booking direction in this company and long-term planning. What the rankings did was keep Tony honest. Mm-hmm. It kept the booking honest. It kept the booking on track. It made sure you had to watch your P's and Q's.
Every result had to matter. Every result
had to matter. You couldn't be lazy. You had to plan things ahead. It kept the booking honest. It did not fucking matter who was ranked and who wasn't. It did, because that stuff was all a work anyway. It did not matter if you thought the number 5 person should have been the number 2. That was all the arguments of the ignorant. None of it mattered. And everyone would get bogged down in it. All that mattered was that those rankings and those records kept the booking honest. It provided standards to what you were doing and what you were presenting on your TV and the finishes that you were coming up with. Now there are no standards. Now Christian can go away and not be on TV for 2 months and have his last match be a loss and magically get a world title shot. Why? Because now you don't have standards and you could just cut corners and have the heel authority figures make him a number 1 contender. It's why you have these endless eliminator matches where the challenger never wins them anyway. It's where you have no standards whatsoever in the difference between a title match, an eliminator match, and a non-title match. Why is Christian in a title match, Takeshita in an eliminator match, and Nick Wayne in a non-title match? Why? There's no standards. Nick Wayne had won his last 2 television matches. In fact, both of them were squashes. He won rather easily. He was 2-0 in his last 2 singles matches coming into that match with Swerve. That was a non-title match for some reason. Why is Christian getting a title match? Because the heel authority figure said so? Cheap shortcuts. No standards. Why is Takeshita in an eliminator match? When he's on, he's been winning matches on TV. They're making up the rules as they go. The rankings kept them on track. It gave them standards to live by and to book by, and it kept the booking honest. Those rankings were for Tony Khan and whoever was booking the show more than they were for the fans. And I said that all along. All along, I said the rankings keep things honest. It keeps the booking honest. People are looking at them the wrong way. You take away those rankings, it's fucking chaos. It's every other wrestling company where nothing makes sense. It's New Japan where guys can just walk on down to the ring and say, I'm the number 1 contender now. It's WWE where The Miz can lose his last 47 matches or whatever it was, and I'm not even making this up.
Jinder Mahal, Jinder Mahal can come from fucking nowhere and get a title shot.
There's no fucking standards. And if that's what you want out of your pro wrestling, great. There's a lot of places to get it. This place used to be different. And it stopped being different. Why? I don't know. Because it's easier to be lazy. It's easier to have no standards. It's easier to listen to the worst people in media who don't know what the fuck they're talking about and are just grifting anyway. They're grifting stupid people, and you're letting them influence you. Is that what it is? It seems like that's what it is. You had standards. Now you don't have any. Now you got heel authority figures, and you're going to have a match for control of the company. That's fine. I'll keep it at arm's length. So you asked me, Rich, at the top of the show, what are my thoughts 5 years in? Here's my thoughts. Here's where I wrap this in a bow. Massive disappointment, missed opportunities, and wasting a world-class roster. That's my thoughts on where we are 5 years in. Clip that one and put it on YouTube.
There you go. I might. Yeah, I think, and it sucks because I think there was a lot of points over the last 5 years where this company was great and really, really great and was having great television wrestling. And I think still does have very good television for the most part. I don't love it all, and it's not what I want out of my wrestling. I think it's, and I kind of said this a couple of weeks ago, and now you and I have both been kind of talking about this as well. It's a sports entertainment company with a great roster that sometimes has great wrestling. And that's fine. I like that.
That's it.
And that's fine. That's okay.
Could have been so much more.
It could have been so much more, and at times it was so much more. And at times we would go on this show and talk about how this is the greatest wrestling TV show that has ever existed, and nothing is even close. And that still might be kind of true. You know what I mean? They probably still have better matches week to week than most other television wrestling shows ever do. They probably still do. And this was a time where we said that this show, and the pay-per-views still do deliver. They're still incredible. And there were times where we talked about, man, imagine these last few years in pro wrestling if AEW didn't exist, especially during the pandemic. From the pandemic to 2021, it's like, man, imagine what wrestling would have been like if AEW did not exist. Thank God. Thank God for AEW, given what we've had over these last couple of years and how awful this has been, both, in the world and especially in the world of wrestling, how bad it was during the pandemic era. It was like, God bless AEW for being around. Thank God this company is here. And there were a lot of points where it was like, this company is doing, it is changing the world. It is changing how pro wrestling is looking. It's changing conversations of pro wrestling. It's having great matches. It's giving, personality to, people from different parts of the world, where a guy from Japan can come in and be a big deal. Guys from Mexico can come in and be a big deal. And that's not always the case in other professional wrestling companies, not always the case in other major American professional wrestling companies. There was times where you were getting promos where it felt like guys were able to, for the first time in decades, were not given a script. Nobody was handing Eddie Kingston a script and saying, here's what we want you to say. Here are the bullet points. It was, here, Eddie, your segment is here. You have 11 minutes. There you go. Go out and do whatever you're going to do. And Eddie Kingston could go out for 11 minutes and cut a promo about whatever he wanted to cut, as long as it was related to whatever the story was going to be. And it all came to a head at these quarterly pay-per-views that were some of the greatest shows we've ever seen. And we came on these Instant Reaction Lives and said, that's one of the greatest show ever. And we would go on. It got annoying. It got boring, where people were like, oh, here we go. Joe and Rich are going to do the is this the greatest show ever conversation again. But it was warranted many times. Many times. We would start the show and go, God damn it, we got to do this again. Is this the greatest wrestling show of all time? And it was earnest discussions about that as well. And we still have that from time to time in terms of their pay-per-views, because their pay-per-views still do deliver. But ultimately, where we are now after 5 years, it's like we have just, in a lot of ways, it's regressed. And it is now, and I've accepted it as such, it's a sports entertainment company with great wrestling. And that's fine. That's all right. I'm still going to watch all of it. Yeah. Because I like great wrestling. I love great wrestling.
You know what's funny? I like AEW.
I do too.
Despite this conversation, I don't love it though, and
it's so much better than the alternative. But you know what, Joe? It's not that much of an alternative, and that's what sucks.
No, it's not.
It is so much better than the alternative, because we're going to come on here and we're going to spend 10 minutes later talking about King and Queen of the Ring. I don't even know if we're going to get to 10 minutes. Probably won't even get to 10 minutes. I don't even think I can get to 10 minutes with King and Queen of the Ring. Who fucking cares? It's so much better than the alternative. But I thought 5 years in, it would be an alternative, and it's not.
I thought 5 years in, it really would have a chance to be great. And the reason that we spend all of this time on AEW and almost no time on WWE is because, to me, WWE is hopelessly bad and not for me. AEW, after 5 years, is just massively, massively disappointing. It's massively disappointing what it has become. While clearing the very low bar of I'd rather watch this than WWE, which is a very low bar. Just a very disappointing company, and one that with this roster should be on an all-time run, the way that they were in 2021. Should be on an all-time run, and we're not anywhere close to that right now. I'm sure the pay-per-view. I'm sure that pay-per-view is gonna be great.
Oh yeah, we're gonna preview here in a minute.
They nail that.
Oh, they always nail the pay-per-views.
They got the pay-per-views down
because they stay out of their own fucking way. They don't trip on their own dicks. They don't tell a bunch of different fucking stories. They just say, hey, you, two great pro wrestlers, go out there and have a great pro wrestling match. And guess what? The great pro wrestlers usually have great pro wrestling matches. And they could do that. They could do that every fucking week with this roster.
Every week.
Say, all right, you cut a promo. Two good professional wrestlers. Hey, you have 14 minutes. Have a great professional wrestling match. And they could. And they absolutely could do that every single week if they wanted to. But we got to tell stories, because that's what you do in professional wrestling. And Eric Bischoff says you don't tell stories, so you got to tell stories. What's one of the things we've always said about this company? You tell too many stories. We said that in 2019. We said that from day one. You don't have to tell that many stories. Just have wrestling matches. Wrestling matches are stories. You know what I mean? Wrestling matches and the wins and losses derived from that wrestling match, those are stories. You could do those.
Stories.
But alas. All right, so that's that. That's AEW after 5 years. Double or Nothing coming up. Is it kind of fun? Do you find it funny that they're not really celebrating that all that much?
Only Tony. Tony keeps saying it in his tweets. That's about it.
Okay. It doesn't feel.
And Tony, Tony got to get off Twitter. Tony is just too addicted to Twitter.
Hey, I'm preaching the choir on that one. I said that 4 years ago.
And he keeps talking about how Twitter is where wrestling fans come together.
He's wrong.
He's wrong. He's wrong. I don't care who's doing his research. He's wrong. He is, and I have a feeling that he is way too influenced by all the people who he claims to ignore, all of the bad grifting media. I think that weighs on them, and I think that they do try to placate, maybe not those people specifically, but I think they do try to placate those ideas too much. And they're loser ideas. They're losing loser ideas for the most part. But, that's, from people who are just trying to carve a niche and make money off of stupid people. You can't let that penetrate your thought process and dictate what you do. It's funny because that whack job Dave Scherer, who doesn't even deserve oxygen, to be honest, there's something wrong with him. He constantly talks about how Tony Khan is sinking his wrestling company because he's booking for Dave Meltzer and listening to Dave Meltzer. And what's funny about that and ironic about that is it's the complete opposite. AEW is very clearly booked for all of the people who claim that it's not booked for them. Too many stories, too many sports entertainment style stories, while all these people claim that there are no stories. Because that's the game, that's the grift. That's the audience they're playing to. That's why AEW is struggling, because they are taking that advice. They're not listening to Dave Meltzer, who does nothing but criticize what they do. All right, let's preview this pay-per-view.
Yeah, let's talk about it. Pay-per-view, by the way, probably going to be fucking fantastic. Coming up this Sunday, AEW Double or Nothing 2024. Instant Reaction Live. We are doing that. Flagship, patreon.com, $10 tier. Immediately after the show, we always say the most detailed and comprehensive post-pay-per-view show that you are going to hear anywhere. We always pride ourselves on that. We always come on here and do 2.5 to 3 hours of coverage about every single one of these pay-per-views when it's done. So we promise. Other guys are going to come and go. We're still going to be there breaking it down, talking about it, discussing it. We do that better than anybody else. We're going to do it again this Sunday, AEW Double or Nothing. Instant Reaction Live. Available, flagship, patreon.com, $10 tier. So make sure you jump on there. We always tell people if you're going to do it, if you're interested in doing it, sign up now so you don't miss a second of the show, because we get a lot of people once the show's over, they sign up and they scramble to get on it. It just do it now. Do it now, because then you're going to be ready to go by Sunday. But show itself should be phenomenal. Anarchy in the Arena, FTR, Bryan Danielson, and Darby Allin versus the Elite. Obviously, Jack Perry, Okada, the Young Bucks. I mean, Anarchy in the Arenas. I'm always a little higher in them than you are. I think this one's going to be extra chaotic with Darby Allin involved and with the Elite being, the characters that they are right now. But the floor for me is always pretty damn high with these Anarchy in the Arenas. But I do know that you tend to, even the ones that people lauded and loved, you were kind of so hemming and hawing on some of them. Where are you at with this one in particular?
I don't know. I never loved them. I think they're fine. It's just not my style of match. They'll have their jeans on with their knee pads over their jeans, and they'll brawl around the building, and there's going to be some cool spots, no doubt about it. But yeah, I'm going to probably come in lower than virtually everybody else on the planet. If it were up to me, I'd have all these guys just wrestling matches against each other. I'm pretty easy to please.
The challenge series. You want a challenge series of singles matches to determine at the end of the.
I'd have a hot 8-man tag, or, but I feel like, it's these promoters and these bookers feel like they constantly need all these bells and whistles. I mean, This pay-per-view looks like an NWA pay-per-view. Everything is a title match.
It does. It looks like a 1986 NWA pay-per-view.
No, a 2023 NWA
the current
pay-per-view.
NWA, right? Even worse, yeah.
Like everything is a title match or has a gimmick. There's one match on the whole show that isn't a title match or a match with a gimmick. So, and I don't want to break down whether the company has too many titles right now.
We got bigger fish to fry than that. That is,
titles
believe it or not,
that's
one of the least of their issues in my mind.
Yeah, I agree. Titles are what you make them. It's you have too many when you don't make enough of them important. That's basically what it comes down to with titles. But yeah, no. Look, for most people, this match is going to be a lot of fun. Is Darby Allin going to pull out a flamethrower and kill the 4 members of the Elite? Give them 3rd-degree burns? I mean, I don't know. It's silly goofiness. But yeah, I don't know. It's I don't think the thing about this match is it's not any kind of blow off or anything, because I think the central feud in the company is still going to be the Elite versus Tony Khan. Coming into this match and coming out of the match. So what that does, though, is it opens it up for the heels to win. Where normally when they do Anarchy in the Arena or Blood and Guts, very often it feels like it's the blow off and the baby faces are going to win. Not every time. But this is one where it feels like the heels have a very real chance and probably will win.
So we have AEW World Title match, presumably the semi-main event, which I think was a point that you brought up on the Thursday Dynamite review as well, Swerve Strickland versus Christian. Now, I think that the story that they've told with this match is pretty good. I don't have much issue with the story they've told with Swerve and Christian. The way they got there, a little bit wonky, but they got there, and I think the story has been pretty damn good, and I've enjoyed a lot of the segments that they've had, and I think Christian's an underrated. I'm honestly, I can't believe I'm saying that, but I believe he is an underrated performer, because I don't know that people quite realize how good he is and how special he is, and when he's gone, maybe finally people will realize how important he was to this era of wrestling history or whatever. And Swerve, who I think has done well as champion, but to your point, he doesn't feel like the tippy top star in the company. He doesn't feel like the guy in the company, and I think that this match could maybe go a lot of ways. It could really do some work in terms of making Swerve feel like he is a tippy top guy and feel like he's a tippy top star. But again, it's going to be overshadowed by Anarchy in the Arena. I think this match, and I think this match, everybody kind of feels like this is going to be, and rightfully so, kind of a perfunctory. Swerve's going to very easily defeat Christian Cage and retain the title type of match. And I don't know. I think this is a big time match. I want to see Swerve look like a champion. I want him to feel like a champion. I want him to beat Christian Cage and make it feel like, damn, that guy is the world champion, and no one's close to that guy right now. That guy is the man. I want it to feel that way, and I hope it does. I don't know if
that's
it will.
That's not going to happen in one night. That's not.
It won't. It won't.
Look. The bottom line. Look, here's the thing with Swerve. There were a lot of questions going into the Joe match as to whether he should win and whether it was the right time and whether he felt like a burgeoning superstar in pro wrestling. And my gut was telling me all along it wasn't the right time and it didn't feel right. He doesn't feel like a burgeoning huge star in pro wrestling. Look, here's the thing. Your world champion should undoubtedly feel like the biggest star in your company. Your world champion should feel like one of the biggest stars in the world and should be in the conversation for the biggest star in the world. And I just don't feel like Swerve doesn't feel like either at this point. I don't know if they missed the window in the fall. I think that would have been too soon. I know that the plan was originally to do it as a heel, and that is really when he felt hottest. But as I said before the Joe match, I feel like Swerve's story should have been beating Hangman Page for this title, not Samoa Joe. And I don't know what the fuck's going on with Hangman Page or why he's never around, but I didn't feel like there was any rush on that either. I felt like the story was Hangman as the thorn in Swerve's side, as this guy hell-bent on preventing Swerve from winning this title. eventually holding that title and playing keep away from Swerve, and then Swerve chasing Hangman and taking it from Hangman. That was the completion of Swerve's story. Yeah, they had him take it off of Joe. My gut told me the timing was off. It's now been a few weeks. He doesn't feel like the biggest star in the business. Does Cody Rhodes feel like the biggest star in the business?
Pretty damn close. If not the biggest guy, he's in the mix. Okay. He's one or two.
Okay. Did Roman Reigns feel like the biggest star in the business?
For a while, yes.
He was a world champion.
Yep, of course.
When Kenny Omega had this company's title, did he feel like the biggest star in the company and one of the biggest stars in the business?
Yeah.
How about Jericho when the company started? How about you see where I'm going with this and the exercise I'm doing here? Did Hangman Page feel like the hottest star in this company and then the protagonist of AEW when he was world champion? CM Punk when he was the world champion here? Moxley when he was carrying the company during the pandemic, did he feel like one of the biggest stars in the world? The answer to all of these questions are yes. Okay. WWE went through a period where they were putting their world title on Jack Swagger, and you just go right down the line of people who never really deserved to be world champions. The Miz, none of these people, they were mid-carders holding a world title belt. As a result, it greatly hurt their world title and the ability to draw with the world title. WWE corrected that. And really, ever since Brock Lesnar, did Brock Lesnar feel like the biggest star and the biggest deal in the company and arguably the world? Yes, of course he did. Does Swerve feel like, to you, he belongs in the conversation with any of these people? Honestly, to me, he does not. And that doesn't mean he never gets there. He's not there now.
No, they're going to have to do a little bit of work. They're going to have to do a little bit of work.
They need to do some work.
Yeah.
And I just feel like the timing was off. It wasn't the right time. It is going to sound, I like Swerve, and I think he's got the potential to get to where into the company that I'm talking about, especially, with the AEW names. There's no reason he can't get to that level. He's not there now, but it's going to take a lot of work. He's in arguably the third most important match on this show in his first title defense, despite all the incredible work that he has done and Christian has done. And they have really taken a cold, nothing match and made something out of nothing.
Absolutely.
They have done a tremendous job.
They have done a great job, both those guys.
A tremendous job. But that doesn't take away that he does not feel like one of the biggest stars in the world, which is how your world champion should feel. Does Tetsuya Naito feel like one of the biggest stars in the world?
Yeah. Think about when Okada was the fucking
Okada,
champion.
I mean, come on. But you fall like WWE did a poor job for years and fixed that. And now their world champion always feels like a real world champion. But Swerve, you don't get that feeling with him. It's like when TNA over the years would just, fuck it, nothing's working. Put it on Chris Sabin.
Yeah, Bobby Roode, you're our champion now. We'll
put it on, let's try this guy. Let's try, and that's just throwing shit against the wall to see if it sticks. That's a little different than this scenario. It's a little different, but it's not all that dissimilar. And when WWE was putting their world title on mid-card guys, they weren't trying to make Jack Swagger. Those were storylines and bad ones. So that's not apples to apples necessarily either. But I think the timing was off. I think he won it from the wrong person. And unfortunately, in pro wrestling, these things are always about timing.
Mm-hmm.
And who knows if they ever are able to get him over to that level. Who knows if they're ever able to rebottle whatever was building in the fall with him. And this is why I come on here every week. And on my reviews, I talk about they are at severe risk of missing the boat and doing the same thing with Will Osprey. Will Osprey felt like the biggest star in the company when he came into this company. The people were ready for Will Osprey and AEW. But they already had this Swerve thing in motion. They went with Swerve. And in 3 months, 6 months, a year, when they turn around and it's again, it might be gone. Timing is everything in pro wrestling. And they may miss the window on him too. Fans are not as patient as you think. You know, it may be a situation where we're looking back in a year where we're saying, man, they should have built it up. They should have ripped up their plans and put that belt on Osprey because he may have caught fire. We talked about after the last pay-per-view, wow, this feels like this company's got some real momentum. They have a chance to really catch something here. And, you know, based on how hot Osprey felt, based on how hot, and now I don't feel that way. I don't feel like this is a company on the verge of catching fire with a hot new world champion. I got to be honest. It feels like a mid-carder is their world champion. He feels like a mid-carder.
He feels like a guy that's trying to build himself into that role as opposed to the role fitting him at the exact right time.
Right.
And I think one of the issues, honestly, is that Hangman's not around. It's like his big scalp, the big guy.
That's right.
Is
he
just
should
gone.
Have beat Hangman.
It's just gone. Yeah. And it was like he won it in, you know, the kind of a convoluted type of way or whatever. And then it's just like, all right, yeah, that's the end of that guy. You know, it's just, you know, one of the big guys, the guy he was, his mortal enemy is just gone. It's just gone. You know what I mean? And that, and that, I think, you know, yeah. Can we get that back? Can it be if Hangman comes out on Double or Nothing or whatever? Hangman comes back in a month or so, comes back, maybe, and that's, I think, you know, and again, I'm not trying to downplay Swerve and I'm not trying to downplay Christian because I think they've made the most out of this, but it definitely, I think the first time in AEW's history, the AEW World Title feels like it's not.
It feels lesser.
Yeah, it feels lesser. It does not feel like the most important thing in the company. It is. And far from the most important thing in the company.
Well, nobody wants to say it yet because we're all happy for him and it's new, but their world title is not on one of the top pro wrestlers in the world for the first time. I'll say it.
Yeah.
I'll have the uncomfortable conversation. I'll do it. I mean, it's just that's how it feels right now.
I used to say that about Sonata, remember? I would say, other than Evil, go through the history of the IWGP World Heavyweight Title, the IWGP Heavyweight Title. Yeah, I know they made it different, whatever. Go through both of them. You have to go all the way back to fucking 2005 or whatever. Find like, oh shit, that's not one of the best wrestlers in the world. It's like, you know, yeah, Kojima and Nakamura and Tanahashi and Okada and Omega and Styles and Naito and these guys. Those guys all were like very, very clearly the best wrestlers in the world. And I said, you did it with Evil. That was kind of your one-off, and now you're going to Sonata, and you are putting the belt on a guy that is not one of the greatest wrestlers in. And what's that going to be like?
Biggest stars?
How's that going to feel like?
I mean, he's just not. He's just not one of the biggest stars in the world. He doesn't feel like one of the biggest stars in the world. And I feel like if he would have chased and beaten Hangman, maybe these vibes would feel different. Maybe his match here would feel like the biggest match on the show, as opposed to Anarchy in Arena is clearly the main event. Money is debuting. That's probably the number 2 match on the show. And then this match is the third. It's the third biggest match on the show. At best, the second biggest match on the show. And presented as such. I mean, the company is built around the Elite versus Tony Khan right now. Just is. But they took a match that was just completely cold and have done a phenomenal, because Christian is incredible.
It's going to rock too. The match is going to probably rock.
Of course it is. It's going to be great. And Swerve is great. Christian is incredible. They have the one thing they've done, and I've got to credit the people involved, because I'm sure it's all Swerve. And then Christian, we all know how smart he is. So everything in this program has been so super logical, from tying in the original Swerve attack on Nick Wayne at his home, where he used the photo of Nick and his father, and then Christian comes back and uses the family photo of Swerve when he attacks Swerve, right? And working the old Nick Wayne stuff into it, working the fact that Swerve lost the match in Wembley and Christian being annoyed about that. Man, there's been nothing lazy about this program.
No.
And Swerve will go out there every week on TV and bleed buckets. He's a psychopath. He will work his ass off to get something over. In fact, I think he takes so many beatings, it's almost to his detriment. Now, this week on TV, he had the upper hand, and I think that was important because he's been taking too many beatings. There was the one collision where he beat up the Gates of Agony by himself. Right? Other than that, Christian has gotten the better of this guy every step of the way. So this week, it was the right move to have Christian show some ass. Okay? But you can't knock the build here. The question now moving forward, is can we get Swerve over the top and make him feel like he's one of the biggest stars in the world? He's the fucking world champion. He should undoubtedly feel like the biggest star in the company. Is anyone having Swerve Cody debates? Let's be honest.
I don't
here.
think so. Yeah, I don't think
Let's
so.
be honest here. Okay? I'm not trying to be mean. I'm doing my job.
So elsewhere on the show, again, like you said, match that probably is more important, and we'll definitely have more, I think more people are anticipating what's going to happen here. It's the AEW TBS title match, Willow Nightingale defending the title against Mercedes Moné. Now, obviously, there's a lot of things going into this match and how we got here and all this sort of stuff. I mean, Moné is at a point now where she's kind of has to be a heel, because they put her in there with Willow. Willow's an uber babyface. The crowd is still very much attached to Willow. The crowd seems more invested in Willow. Mercedes has little by little had to kind of become a little bit more of a heel, which I don't know if that was their, their goal when she debuted, but we're here now. And I think that it's going to be a very interesting. I'm very curious how it all unfolds, how it all comes together. Is the crowd going to take kindly to Mercedes? Are they going to be happy she's there? Are they going to feel like this is an outsider again? Because it has felt like so far, save for maybe the first, the big business show and a couple of weeks after that, it feels like from that point forward, Mercedes feels like an outsider. We always say that it feels like there's an entirely different show. It feels like she's doing something differently than, you know what I mean? Like it's, and is that now like, how is the crowd going to react to that? Is the crowd going to be 100% into Willow and booing Mercedes? Are they going to feel like Mercedes it doesn't belong here? Are they going to be okay if Mercedes wins this? Or are they going to be annoyed? Like, is it good heel heat? Is it bad heel heat? There's a lot of questions, and I have no idea if I have the answers to any of them. I don't even know what you do booking wise, because I see all the idea. You would make all the sense in the world that Mercedes has to win this match, but then you think about it and you're like, man, I don't know. Given the crowd response, Willow not winning that match could, that could have a negative effect in a lot of ways too. So I don't know. Where are you at with Mercedes and Willow? Because I think I'm fascinated by this match. I'm fascinated by what's going to happen in the match. And hey, can Mercedes hold up? You know what I mean? Like how is she after the injury? We don't know. She hasn't wrestled.
She hasn't wrestled in a million years. I mean, she's over a year, right? I mean, she hasn't wrestled in over a year.
Was it over a year?
I think so.
I think,
Wasn't
Battle in the Valley, right?
Valley?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, right. Shit.
Was it Battle in the Valley or was it just pull it up while I'm talking?
Yeah, let's see. I thought it was let's see here. Other matches.
Battle in the Valley, the
Resurgence. It was Resurgence.
Resurgence was Resurgence. So about a year. About a year.
No, over a year. Yeah, over a year. May 21st.
Over a year.
May 21st. So it'll be over a year since she's wrestled.
Yeah, Resurgence was the little tournament, right? Yeah. So I think that we could be entering meta territory with the Moné presentation in that are they intentionally seeking her to be booed by not conforming, for lack of a better term, to the tone and feel of the promotion? Is that the idea now? Because she makes these little faces and mannerisms that suggest that you're supposed to think she's an asshole.
Right.
They've been leaning more towards that direction with it.
Are you on the Mercedes Moné email list?
What?
Do you get these? I get these, and I don't know. I definitely never signed up for them.
You're on her PR list or
something? No, I get the CEO at themercedes1.com. Mercedes Moné from the desk of the CEO. You want me to read her the thing that came in right before the show?
Is this a bit?
No, I swear to God, I get this. It's who's ready for Double or Nothing, and then there's like the emoji with the dollar sign, sticking your tongue out with the dollar sign. You know that emoji? I get these. I don't know how I got these. I'm on the list somehow. I think it's an AEW list that they sent to me. Fellow Moné makers, this week has been crazy nonstop, but I'm used to that. This is a huge week for me as I finally make my AEW in-ring debut on May 26th at Double or Nothing. After having spent the last year recovering from an injury, the doctors told me would end my career. On top of that, now being back and better than ever, the reality of this being pretty much my biggest match to date since leaving WWE 2 years ago is a lot to mentally prepare myself for. I'm not trying to put too much pressure on myself because I've been doing this for 14 years. I'm not afraid because I was born, all caps, to do this. Having said that, I do feel so many emotions right now. First off, I feel very excited, also nervous, and there's also the sense of gratitude on the one hand, yet on the other hand, I am sad, I am stressed, but I am pushing through like I always do. Well, I can tell you, she didn't have an editor. This is from the desk of Mercedes because she's writing not...
How and why are you getting this?
I don't know. I get them. I don't know. I don't know how I got on this list, but I get these. There's more. There's 3 more paragraphs. For those who don't know, my brother Joshua has special needs. He's been dealing with a lot more mental health issues lately. It's been tough to see someone you love having to deal with stuff like that. Joshua will be moving into a new group home soon, so before that, he wanted a vacation, and we decided to give him one. This meant driving 19 hours from Boston to Orlando right after throwing the first pitch at the Red Sox game because he could not fly right now. Aside from that, I'm a little tired. To be honest, I haven't slept much. Right after getting to Orlando, I don't know why I'm getting this, but here we go. I had to go straight to Seattle. Let's not forget Willow put me through a table. Then, all caps, I took a red eye back to my Florida home where I have been training my ass off, all caps, at every wrestling school in Orlando, getting ready for the TBS Championship match against Willow Nightingale. I wish my mom and brother could be in Vegas for this debut match. For the first time, Joshua wants me to win and keeps saying, I hope you beat Willow and get the title. So that's what I want to do. All the travel, stress, not eating or sleeping, all of it is, all caps, worth it because he is my reason. I took some time for myself. I spent months thinking about how much unfinished business I have in wrestling and healing from the trauma that this injury has caused me. I changed my mindset and prepared myself for all the goals I had laid out for myself. Now I am feeling this fire again. Honestly, I'm feeling the same feeling that I felt back in 2015 in Brooklyn. It's a hunger and a knowing that change is coming because money changes everything, all caps. I came to AEW to make women's wrestling globalized, and this Sunday, May 26th, I know in my heart and my soul that Willow and I will just do that. So moneymakers, you have just been with me on this journey every step of the way, and just like we started the evolution back in 2015, this Sunday in Vegas, we are going to up the ante and change the game forever, all caps, love Mercedes.
Why doesn't she cut that promo on TV?
Sounds pretty good, right? And that's different. And that's why I wanted to read that, because that's different than what they portrayed on television.
Yeah. That's
so I don't know.
Babyface. That's
so I don't know.
100% babyface.
Right.
But Willow is very popular. She has gotten over, and she's done it the hard way on her own. I don't think they've meant for her to get over to this level. She's gotten over in such a way that if it were WWE, they would make sure that they beat her down so she isn't over anymore because they don't. But
they would be annoyed. They would be pissed off that Willow has gotten as over as she's gotten.
Right. How dare she? No, but I feel like that's 100% babyface what you have there. I don't know if that's some kind of Mercedes Money newsletter fan zine kind of thing, or I don't know what that is. I don't know why you're getting that. But
do you want me to? I'll forward them to you moving forward.
That's okay. Don't put me on that list.
Right, I'll see if I can get you on the
No.
list. Yeah. Okay. All right.
No, that's fine. You could just read them to me.
I'll just read them to you. I will read. I'll make sure I read them to you moving forward. Yes.
I'll make sure I never answer the phone. So I feel like the presentation has been heelish more and more on TV, and the pop when she put her through the table was enormous. So the fans are going to be behind Willow, but I think that Monet is going to get support just because it's her first match back, and fans are going to be excited about that. But I think fans are ultimately going to want Willow to win the match. I know that everyone thinks it's a foregone conclusion that Monet's going to win. I don't know if that's the right story.
I agree. I don't think it is.
I feel like if Willow wins, you could have Willow win and Monet throw a little hissy fit and just complete the heel turn. And do it that way, where it's clear cut, and now she's 100% heel. The fans, you had to bring her in as a babyface. It wasn't going to work. You had to bring her in Boston and let people cheer her. She's back on American television, all that. I get it. But she's slowly been leaning heel. Go all the way now. Have her just get beat fair and square and then act petulant about it, right? And just go full heel. And then down the line, then you could have Statlander turn on Willow and have Monet win the title that way. Whatever the fuck you're going to do. But yeah, I think we're on the same page. I don't know if Monet winning is necessarily the right call.
It feels very much like, remember when Saraya won the title? And it was like, I know that they wanted to do it in Wembley or whatever, but it kind of, it had, I feel like it might have that same sort of vibe where people are like, God, this feels so undeserved and so
unless
unbecoming.
You do the stat turn,
right? Now. And that's to me that that's what I'm betting on. If I was betting on this pay-per-view, I would bet that Statlander turns on Willow, and that in the heat is that Mercedes cheated to win the title and Stats the heater, and that all makes sense to me. And that's a way to get Willow. Like, you don't want to do the worst thing you could possibly do is Mercedes just goes in there and hits the fucking bank statement or whatever the hell she's calling it, and beats Willow that way. Or whatever the convoluted dumb move that she does.
Money Maker?
Is it the Money Maker? I don't think that's the name of it. I don't know what it is, but whatever it's called. It's convoluted and weird, and it looks terrible every time. But like, that's the worst thing you can do. In the middle of the ring, she pins Willow. Like, that's not going to go over well. What would go over a little bit better, obviously, is that if Statlander does turn on Willow, then you can tell that sort of story.
They would have the wrong kind of heat if she just beats her.
Right. I think the fans will swallow Stat fucked her over, and that's how Willow lost.
Remember this, though. AEW very rarely does the obvious turn.
Right.
Whenever you think, oh, this turn's going to happen, or this, they very rarely do that. They don't really telegraph those. Like WWE, you see them coming a mile away. They telegraph them. They hit you with the subtlety hammer. They almost tell you without telling you. They want you to know it's coming. That's the way they tell their stories. AEW, sometimes you think a turn is going to come and it just never comes. You know what I mean? So maybe Statlander isn't going to turn. And we're just all assuming that's going to happen because that's happened before in this company where we've just assumed there's going to be a turn and then there's never a turn. Or we assume partners are going to, because it's been so beaten into us that that's what you do in pro wrestling. And that is one thing that they've stayed away from, the obvious turns. So I don't know. But obviously a very intriguing match. You have to see how Monet looks physically and see how the crowd goes with it. And the finish, I think, is intriguing. Look, I think this show is going to rock.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'm looking forward to the show. It's going to be a great show.
Then we do Roderick Strong and Will Osprey. I love the story that they're telling here.
Oh, man, did they turn this around?
Oh man, because this was one of the dumbest stories, one of the worst stories for a while, and I am all in. After Will talked about what these Southside Wrestling or whatever, I was in. You know, I was like, "Fuck yeah, let's do this." You know what I mean?
Yeah, when they had that face-to-face 2 weeks ago, and then this week Roderick leaves him bleeding in the ring. I don't know if you saw it. Did you see the? Of course, they didn't put it on TV.
No, only because you told me that it was good. I then sought it out, and it was actually very good.
Right. Yeah. So there's a Will Osprey promo with the blood all over his face that people have to go see. Now, they might do it on Rampage or Collision, but how that wasn't on Dynamite at some point later in the show, I have no idea.
Come on. You got too much stuff you got to show.
They had 19 video packages on that fucking show.
Right.
I mean, come on. This is what I mean. I think that they're taking the wrong advice. You know what I mean? Because it's like...
Right, the video package dorks won. The dorks that said, I don't know anything. Put more video packages and tell me what's going on. Now you got it, motherfuckers. You got it. You got 19 of them.
God, I'm so tired of these video packages.
Every story, every corner of every story covered. Don't worry in these video packages. Do not worry. They got you.
God. I think they just hired that kid from Twitter. I guess they got to justify the fucking cost.
Tiger Style or whatever. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't follow that stuff. I have no idea. I'm sure he's a fucking genius. But do we have to have so many of these fucking video packages on the show? Anyway, they've really turned this build around. This was another match where it's like Will Ospreay wins like a geek battle royal. And it's like it downgrades him so much to be like in a program for this international title. But at least because again, these were real conversations not that long ago. He felt like the hottest star in the company. It's like, whoa, they have something here. He's an even bigger deal than we thought he would be. Well, they're running the risk of cooling that off. But these guys, I think, are going to have obviously it's a contender for match of the night. It's Will Osprey with virtually anyone, but he's in there with Roderick Strong. There have been years, okay, not that long ago, maybe 8 years ago, where I thought Roderick Strong may have been the best wrestler in the world. He is really fucking good.
Oh yeah, and it's been good for a long time. I think we talked
for a long time.
There was probably about a year or so ago we had this conversation that this guy, people do not realize, has been like good. You know, we always say about Mochizuki. What do we always say about Masaki Mochizuki? Yeah. Is that he's been one of the best 50 best wrestlers for the last 15, 20 years or whatever.
At least 20 years.
Yeah. Roderick Strong's been one of the 50 best wrestlers since 2005.
When healthy, yes.
Yes. Unfortunately, the last few years have had, health issues and some other stuff. This dude is fucking incredible and has been incredible for so many years.
Yeah.
And he's going to have a match with Will Osprey, who never has a bad match with anybody. This is going to be good. This is going to be really good. I think I could very safely say that Roderick Strong and Will Osprey is going to be fucking phenomenal. We know the result. We know who's going to win.
Osprey has to win.
Yes.
I mean, that one's not debatable. He has to win the match. It'd be a huge mistake if he didn't win. But yeah, they have the potential to have, it's Will. He's the best wrestler in the world and has been for 5 years. And he's in there with a guy who unquestionably can have an incredible match with him. And now that the build is matching, because this was actually, before the build, this was the kind of match that people say AEW does all the time, but that they never do, and I wish they would do. People say, it's just a dream match promotion. It's just a bunch of matches. I wish.
That'd be so
Please,
good.
I want more of that.
I want this guy and this guy are good wrestlers, and they're going to have a good wrestling match, and one of the guys is going to win, and then after the match, one of the guys is going to be better than the other guys because he beat the other guy.
And there's not a semblance of a fucking story. I want more of that.
Right. Or
they
the story is Will being like, bruv, you were an asshole to me in Southside Wrestling 15 years ago or 10 years ago, so fuck you, bruv. And I'm like, yeah, that's fine. That works for me.
But it's gone from just a match that was going to be good to now they've given it a great build.
Yeah.
And, they didn't muck it up, because a lot of times when you tell a story, you fuck it up. But this build enhanced it. And that's the other thing. It's like nobody dislikes stories in wrestling. Okay? Of course, stories make everything better. The problem is convoluted or juvenile or stupid stories ruin a lot of shit in wrestling. That's the problem. But yeah, look, again, this show is going to be great. There's only one match on this show I'm not looking forward to. Every other match on this show looks like it has a chance to be really good.
We move on to, is this the match? Toni Storm versus Serena Deeb.
That's the match.
That's the match. Me too.
I mean,
yeah. It's going to die a death. Where they place this on the show is going to be so important, because this thing is going to die a fucking death.
The face heel dynamics are a mess. Deeb is a baby face, then she's not a baby face. That Toni Storm is all over the place, but
we're kind of telling the Mariah May story, but we're also kind of not telling it at the same time.
Yeah, it's just a mess. And Toni Storm, her in-ring work has improved from the beginning. The early days of the gimmick, it was terrible because she was leaning into the character. So from that standpoint, I think they could have a really good match. I thought that Serena Deeb had a shockingly good match. Who was it with? Was it with
Anna Jay? Wasn't it Anna Jay?
Yes. They had a much better match than they had any right to have. I thought, Anna Jay, she came into this company with like 5 matches in her life, like a literal fucking beyond green as grass rookie. Another pandemic hire, right? That they found her in the pandemic.
She was found in that Georgia. She was working in that Georgia training school, and showed up and has been great.
And for someone, who was just a beyond green, and it's not like AEW has some schedule where she's working 150 times a year. she's really gotten better. And the one thing, in her top year, she worked 36 matches. I mean, so she's not out there on the fucking grind. I mean, she usually wrestles less than 20 matches a year. She's gotten that little choke that she does over.
Yeah.
Because she was doing that choke in post-match attacks. And she put that choke on Deeb in the match, and people popped because they know that she uses that choke. You know what I mean? So it's like, she's gotten to be very smart too. And I'm sure she's getting, guidance and everything, but she's gotten that choke over. But, yeah, she's obviously not in this match. It's Serena Deeb versus Toni Storm, and it's all going to hinge on how gimmicky it is. And look, this is going to be a great show with a lot of great matches. If there's one match where they gimmick it up and they do a little comedy, and I'm not saying that that's what it's going to be. It might not be. You just got to live with it. You got to live with it. I mean, I know the rest of this show is going to be great. So I'm going to have low expectations for this, and with the idea that, look, if they just go in there and wrestle,
they could just beat the fuck out of each other they
could have a great match.
Yes,
I mean, these two are capable.
Absolutely. Don't gimmick it as much. Don't really worry about the crowd. Don't worry about the heel face dynamics. Just bell ring, and for 10 minutes, go and beat the fuck out of each other, because that's when Tony's at her best. Tony's at her best when she's selling, or she's you know what I mean, where she's just out there beating the hell out of somebody and someone's beating the hell out of her. That's when she's at her best, and Deeb is the same way. So they can have a very good match. Like I buy that this could be a very good match. I just don't. It's like I just feel like the crowd's going to die a death for it. But we'll see. We'll see. I don't know. It could go many different ways. Moving on quickly here, Adam Copeland, Malachi Black, AEW TNT title barbed wire steel cage match. I'm a little worried about this, Joe. A little worried about what this could be.
Well,
the goo.
It can go down
I'm a little scared. Path. I'm really scared after the goo.
Look,
scared.
I didn't like the angle stunk. I mean, it's a bad angle. Did you get the sense that Taz was legit annoyed? Because I did.
I bet some of that shit splashed on him, and he was like, "Get this fucking shit off me!" Yeah, what are we doing here?
He kept saying that.
Yeah.
Because Excalibur would be like, "Yeah, they're doing their best to clean up the ringside area," and Taz was like, "They need to clean off me. I got it all over me." Like, and he didn't sound like he was like. He sounded.
It sounded like grumpy. It sounded like grumpy TNA Taz. Remember when Taz knew he was commentating shit that sucked in TNA, and he let you know, "Hey, today this shit's terrible." Sometimes he would just be like, "Today this doesn't make any damn sense. This is stupid." Whatever. It's like you gotta got that Taz back here, where I think he was a little annoyed about the goo hitting him.
I would have been annoyed too. It was on some of the. I would have been irate if I was a fan in the front row getting hit with that shit. I mean, I don't know, but yeah, the angle was stupid. But yeah, there's danger that this can go. Look, if they just go into a barbed wire steel cage and maim each other, this could be a whole lot of fun, obviously. But if the House of Black end up in the ring and Kyle O'Reilly turns on Copeland, which I still think there's a chance
could happen.
That
Copeland coming out in his brood gear. Copeland coming out from a ring of fire.
And if we have lights going out and turning back on and magic, then yeah, this is going to fucking suck. And the problem with Malachi Black is those are his instincts. So, but if this is just a barbed wire steel cage match, then I think it could be really, really great. Copeland is a 50-year-old multi-millionaire who does not need to do this shit. I cannot praise how great he's been in this company enough. The effort, what he's put his body through. He's having matches with like Minoru Suzuki. Whoever thought you'd see that?
He's working his ass off. I'll give him that. He is working his ass off, and he's been very good in ring. He's been great.
He always does, and yeah, and he's walked up to the line a few times.
I get very nervous. You know me, and when it's happening, and you can see me watching and going, "Oh no!"
He might have sat on a stool once. Even
he said place. He said, "I've been going to places I don't like." And I was like, "Oh!"
He didn't say that place, but he mentioned the
going
place.
2 places, and I was like, "Oh no!" No.
We're walking up to the line. But overall, he's been a net positive for sure.
I agree.
Better than I
just
ever would have imagined.
Just not to their business. But
He popped a little rating a couple weeks ago. Did you see it?
Well, yeah, that's worth $multi-million. Yeah, that's sure.
Did you see it? He popped a little quarter hour.
Yeah. First time he's done that in 15 years.
He added 8,000 viewers to a quarter or something a couple weeks ago.
Cool.
No, but he usually doesn't move numbers at all.
Yeah, you're right. 8,000 people. That's pretty good for him. Yeah.
Yeah. So Charlotte 9,000. Remember Charlotte 7,000 or whatever it was. Yeah, so we'll see. Yeah, this could go off the rails.
This could fucking rock or fucking suck, and I don't think there's an in between.
Yeah.
It's either gonna fucking rule or it's gonna be bad, and I don't know which way. I'm leaning towards it'll fucking rule, and I hope it fucking rules. But I am definitely, there's a chance that it could be what we're saying there. But all right. IWGP World. This fucking card is unbelievable. This roster is so
an incredible card.
Jesus Christ! What is 7th from the top is John Moxley versus Konosuke Takeshita, right? No, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, 7th from the top.
Well, we don't know the match.
I know, but I'm just in the order that I'm presenting them. It's And I've tried. I kind of try to organize it at least what I thought would be important matches or whatever. But somewhere along the line. John Moxley, Konosuke Takeshita, IWGP World Title Eliminator match. You all right over there?
Hold on a second.
I wasn't sure if that was you or the cat.
I
sure if that was Maggie Moo or you.
No, she's in the room, but I burped and it tasted like tuna, but I haven't eaten tuna in years. I don't know why it would taste like tuna.
That's not great. Yeah, that's why I thought it was Maggie Moo. I could smell the tuna from here. So.
Nah, she's giving herself a nice bath on the bed over here.
Well, that's what I thought. Maybe she was coughing up a fur ball or something. So
they lick the paw and then they do the paw over here.
Yeah.
They lick the paw. She's giving herself a nice bath because I took the collar off of her because I can't have that bell ringing.
Yeah.
I'm trying to do the fucking. So she's taking advantage of that, and she's really getting in there with that paw.
Little bath. Yeah, a little bath. Yeah.
Little bath time, yeah. I got those baby birds on my porch again.
Yeah, yeah.
Every spring we let those, and she sits in that bathroom window.
Oh,
and stares at that nest.
It's like I'm gonna eat all those.
And I try to tell the kids, I'm like, if we ever let her get out there, she would murder everyone. And they're like, no. I'm like, yes, she would. She's a little murderer. Yeah. She would murder, eat, and rip apart the flesh of those baby birds, and it traumatizes the children, but it's fun. I need them to know that this is a fucking
they need to know about the circle of life. Yeah, how things go.
Predators. This is a psychopath living with us here. This is
right, a killing machine.
She would rip them piece by piece. I'm like, listen, if Miss Maggie Moo was like the size of a puma, she'd rip you apart.
She'd eat your throats too.
Yeah, I tell the girl that, and she doesn't believe it. I'm like, I promise you, she would do to you what she would do to those baby birds that she stares at all day long out of that bathroom window. I'll crack the window for her too, so she could hear them chirping.
Just give it a little bit. Oh yeah, and she's ready to go.
She's all fired up. Could you imagine if she got out somehow? It'd be a crime scene out there.
It'd be pretty bad. Yeah, my in-laws have this little dachshund. It's like a 1-year-old little dachshund or whatever. It's the cutest little woman. Heidi is her name. It's this cute little dachshund. You let that thing in the park and she just fucking mauls everything. She just runs out, and if anything is in the park, she'll run out and grab a fucking squirrel and rip it apart. She's a fucking killing machine. Backyard, there's just dead mice, there's just dead animals everywhere. It's like you let it in the house and it licks your face and it just wants to cuddle and hug or whatever. The second you let that thing out, it's a fucking murdering machine. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Well, I've seen her attack a rabbit before, and it's awful. I'm like, oh dear God, stop! What are you doing? You don't have to do that.
You can't let a cat find a nest of baby rabbits.
No. Yeah. My dumb dogs, they just sniff. Sometimes I found I'm not sure about my one dog. I feel like he probably could if he needed to, but there's been a couple nests of baby rabbits in our backyard, and they just kind of sniff at them and look at them, and then that's kind of my warning to I better do something just in case they have an idea about doing it, but. They've never done that. One time they cornered a squirrel, and the squirrel didn't know how to get out of our yard. And I was like, oh, fuck, here we go. They didn't do anything. They just looked at me and then walked away. And I was like, okay, I'm happy with that. But yeah, cats are killing machines. Cats would kill you. Yeah. Like you say, a cat would kill you if it could.
Oh, no doubt about it. No doubt about
They've tried. And Maggie Moo has plotted that. She's staying up at night.
Little.
What do you think she's doing at 3 a.m.? Plotting your death.
Well, I catch her just staring at me from like around corners.
Right. Trying to figure out,
Yeah.
There's some way I could kill him, but I'm not sure just yet how there is. Yeah. If I monitor him a little bit longer, maybe I'll be able to figure something out,
Yeah. What do we got next here?
Oh, by the way, Moxley and Takeshita, they'll just have a great wrestling match, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. So a lot of people think because it's an eliminator match, right, that means Takeshita is going to win. I have a different read on this.
No way.
I mean, I think it's an eliminator match because I don't think New Japan wants to give a DDT guy a world title.
Ding. 100%. 100%.
I don't, I'm not, look, I don't think Takeshita is beating the IWGP World Champ. I don't think a DDT wrestler is beating the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, even if Moxley then wins the rematch. I just think people have the wrong read on that. It's just a match that Tony wanted to do. He probably couldn't sell New Japan. He probably couldn't sell Gato on making it a title match. So they settled for this.
Love to hear that conversation between John and...
Yeah. I mean,
so good.
I don't know. That's my read on it. I think I would be stunned if Takeshita beats the IWGP World Champion.
Oh yeah.
Stunned.
I don't think that would ever happen.
I'll come on the air. What day is this show?
Sunday.
I don't even
Sunday
know.
night.
I'll come on Sunday and say, hey, I was wrong if it happens. I mean, I can't see it though.
I'd put it at next to impossible. I think I'm 100. My read is exactly like you have, is that the eliminator is because they don't want to give a title shot to Takeshita, and just as such, they don't want Takeshita beating the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. So, yeah, Moxley's probably winning this one. 3 more matches to go here. FTW 3-way match. Chris Jericho, Shibata, Hook. I think everybody on Earth knows how this is ending. Somebody's beating Shibata. Probably Chris Jericho beating Shibata, right?
Yeah, I guess there's 2 matches I'm not really looking that forward to. I don't know. This is going to be story time. So I don't.
Hook's going to hit his move. Jericho's going to shove him out of the ring and then pin Shibata. You know what I mean? Like that's that. I
the learning tree. Learn from me.
Right. Hook's going to hit his move on Shibata. Then Jericho or Big Bill's going to throw Hook out of the ring, and then Jericho pin Shibata or whatever, or put him in the lion tamer or whatever, and then get the great
point to his temple. See,
right? He's made it work though, because he's Chris Jericho. You know what I mean? Like.
He'll make anything work.
He makes everybody hates this guy and wants him to go away.
Allegedly.
So instead of going away, he just stays and decides his new character is that I'm so smart and you need to learn under me, and everyone's annoyed. Now he's turned legit kind of go away heat into real heat. And now he's just back to having real heat again. It's just like, God damn it.
Look, the act is I don't it's going to annoy people, but the act is working.
It is. It's all
it's very tongue-in-cheek and inside baseball, and he's playing on every stereotype out there that's on him, even from his own locker room, and it has worked. It's working, and he wisely is not using Judas. He doesn't want people singing along with him. It's undercard stuff. Who cares? I don't know. I don't care about the match. I don't care who wins it. I don't care what they do. It's a silly little match. And, whatever.
Orange Cassidy, Trent Beretta. Only match that I believe is... Well, so you got the Anarchy and this are the only things that are not for the title. So this is the only straight-up professional wrestling match is Orange Cassidy versus Trent Beretta. I'm looking forward to this. I think this feud's been pretty good. I love Trent in the heel role. Cassidy, obviously, we've put him over time and time again, and I'm excited. And you know what I would do? I'd have Trent beat him. I don't think you're doing anything with Orange Cassidy right now. I don't
think they're doing anything with Orange Cassidy ever. I thought they were going to,
and they made it close.
That window's slam shut.
So
it's slam shut. So why not? I mean, I don't know if this is the planned blow off for the thing but I mean, I agree. Orange Cassidy's always going to be over. But if they were ever going to push him beyond this spot, they would have done it after he lost the international title, and they didn't do it.
Yeah.
So I thought it was a mistake. Again, I think that was another missed opportunity when somebody felt like they were getting hot. It's weird that Tony's instincts aren't great when it comes to that stuff. You would think that he would have really good instincts when it comes to that stuff.
They nailed the landing. They nailed the landing with Orange Cassidy. It couldn't have been better.
Yeah.
That was like the perfect elevation point of a guy.
Yeah.
And they didn't stick.
Perfect losing up situation. Yeah. People were ready for it and wanting it.
And then 2 weeks later, he's eating bags of chips.
Spot.
Yeah, 2 weeks later, he's eating a bag of chips.
Yeah, and then right back in the same spot. And I don't know.
Very strange. That one I will never understand. And we're coming up on a year, so understand it because it happened and it's not going back. But that one I'll never understand. And then our final match here so far. Hopefully they're not adding anything more. Probably, obviously we had the pre-show and all that sort of stuff. But on the main show, I believe this is it. AEW World Trios title / ROH World 6-Man title / whatever the unified AEW World title, Trios title, and ROH World 6-Man tag team titles are called. The Bang Bang Gang versus Death Triangle. So I'm just so glad that Death Triangle's back. I know you, man. I don't know if you want the Bang Bang Gang to. Can I stop calling them the Bang Bang Gang? I'm gonna call them the Guns. And
no, actually, in fact, you cannot because they're not Bullet Club Gold anymore.
They're not. They're the Bang Bang Gang, and I don't want to keep calling them the Bang Bang Gang, but I'm gonna keep calling them the Bang Bang Gang, I guess. I want the Death Triangle to win these titles because I desperately want these titles to be cool again. And they're just not fucking cool on the Bang Bang Gang. They weren't cool on the Acclaimed. We need a cool team that goes out there every single week. Because you know what I will do now? If I'm in the room, Joe, I know I'm not. I might last a little longer than you in the room, but not very much longer. What I'm doing in the room is I'm saying, you know what? Pac, Penta, and Rey Fenix are our new trios, whatever the fuck tag team champions. Guess what they're going to do? Every week on Collision, every week on Dynamite, whatever show you decide, they're going to defend these titles. Every single week. Maybe not, hey, you want to take a week or two off? I suppose you could do that. But I just, and you know who they're going to face? Who the fuck cares? Three guys come out there and face them. And I want these guys to defend these titles 20 times over the next couple of months. You know what I mean? I want because you are guaranteed a good 6-man title. You know what roll the ball out and say play ball. You know what I mean? Like roll it out and say you guys get 20 minutes. Boom, there you go. Death Triangle versus whoever. Let's make these titles fun. These titles can be great. These titles can be so good and can be such an easy cheat code to having a great wrestling match. What'd you say at the top of the show about Dynamite? Great matches. Get back to having great matches. You know how you can have a great match every single week? The Death Triangle having 15 minutes against whatever random 3-man trio you can find every single week on Dynamite. I would guarantee that most times that's going to be pretty damn great. So I need these titles to mean something again. I need these titles to be on a team that wrestles and wrestles well. I can't do this Bang Bang Gang shit. I can't do the Acclaim shit. I need it to be on a real team. And you're not going to get any better than the Death Triangle. It's a great team.
I've done this same rant on the TV reviews 1,000 times. These people couldn't wait for this company to roll out trios titles, and they've been outside of the 7-match series between the Death Triangle and the Elite. They've been a dud.
Yep, boring as fuck.
I can't believe how poorly booked and boring these titles have been. Every week on TV, there should be a hot trios match for these belts, and you should change these titles frequently. Who cares? Just every couple weeks if you want to change them.
If Air Fox and Top Flight beat the Death Triangle one night, great. Next week
back on Collision and beat them.
Yeah, next day on Collision, Air Fox and Top Flight face each other. Death Triangle beats them. You got lucky one night, we got him back.
Yeah, and that's how you make all your 19 different titles you have feel different and distinctive. Oh, the trios titles are the belts that are unstable. Anyone can win them anytime. It's the high spot title. We're not worried about having nobody's grabbing holds. It can just be you could do so many cool things, and they do nothing cool with these titles.
Nothing
aside from that 7-match series, which was exceedingly cool.
As cool as it went. Yeah, how great! Yeah. How great was that? Every week on Dynamite, they basically just said, "Hey, these guys are gonna have 20 minutes, and it's gonna be fucking great." And guess what? Yeah. They had 20 minutes every time, and it was fucking great every single time.
And then they worked in a through line of stories.
Yeah, they had a great
with the hammer
they told
and everything.
Stories. Weird. Everybody wants stories. Yeah. You know what's a great story? These guys have 7 matches, and over the course of the 7 matches, little things here and there. At some point, Pentagon realizes, you know what? I can't beat these guys straight up. I'm going to use a fucking hammer. You know what? Yeah. I want to win it. So I'm going to use a fucking hammer.
Yeah. And then the Pentagon not wanting them to use the hammer, and then it was just
great.
Yeah. They do nothing cool with these titles when they should be the coolest titles in the fucking company.
Right.
You know?
All they do is these guys come out and sometimes they talk and then they go, guns up, and then they go away. And I'm like, what? What are we doing? Can we have a match? Can I have a match with these guys? Can they be in a good wrestling match? Come on.
You could do little 2 and 3 week programs with these titles with all these different teams. You got Lance Archer and the Righteous. You got all these different trios in this company. And you could do so much fun stuff, and they do nothing fun with these titles. It's such a wasted, missed.
Hell, do it on Rampage every week. Every week, Rampage.
Every single week, Rampage could be the
Rampage.
show where you're going to get a hot trios.
Every
match.
Rampage has a great trio, has a trios title match on it.
Yep, every Rampage, or open up every Collision with it, or it just. I don't know. I don't understand. It's just. This company, it's like it has all the potential in the world.
Look at this roster. Look at this show. Look at the names I just mentioned, and it's not including a Kenny Omega. It's not including an MJF.
In that room, you got to get wrestling fans.
Jay White, Pac, Penta, Phoenix, Orange Cassidy, Trent Beretta, Chris Jericho, Katsuyori Shibata, Hook, Moxley, Takeshita, Copeland, Malachi Black, Roderick Strong, Will Osprey, Swerve, Christian, FTR, Bryan Danielson, Darby Allin, Jack Perry, Okada, the Young Bucks, Tony Storm, Serena Deeb. It's like
start naming
Mercedes
who's not on
Moné, Willow Nightingale.
Start naming who's not on the show.
Right.
You know, all the people that are either on the shelf or just not booked.
Hangman Page, Kenny Omega.
Yeah. It's the Bandito.
Bandito.
You know, the roster is just fucking Commander and Taurus, Black Mortos, whatever his name is. You know, all the Lucha guys and Kyle Fletcher.
Kyle Fletcher. Brody King.
Brian the rest
Keith.
of the House of Black guys. Brian
Claudio.
Keith.
Claudio Castagnoli, good wrestler.
Nowhere to be found.
Danny Garcia, great wrestler.
Nick Wayne.
You
know, it's just this is a world-class roster. World-class roster. And it's just, I don't know, and the show's going to be great.
Yeah, the show will be,
same time,
will be great.
Yep.
So that will, obviously that's Sunday, AEW Double or Nothing will be back Sunday night, Instant Reaction Live, $10 tier, flagship patreon.com for that recap and review of the pay-per-view immediately following. So let's go. We got about an hour left in the show here, so let's get through all the these other topics pretty quickly, and I think we can do that. Let's start off with, while we're talking about AEW, NBA, it looks like this week they kind of formalized it. We don't have the exact numbers yet, and pen hasn't been put to paper, but it looks like, and we talked about this a little bit last week, but it looks like that the NBA has formalized written contracts with Disney, NBC, and Amazon to air NBA games moving forward. So that means WBD is out. Now, they can still take legal action and try to match an offer, and there's still some stuff out there, but it feels like, and from a lot of reports, John Oran had a report, Andrew Marchman had a report, it seems like from a lot of the reports that it does appear that WBD might just be out of the NBA game. The money got a little too big for them. Negotiations didn't go the way they wanted. We'll see. This is still obviously a work in progress, and we don't know exactly where things are going to go. But for right now, it looks like the NBA is going to be on Disney /ABC/ESPN, NBC,
package,
and Amazon.
Yeah, and that the A package is ESPN. The B package, which was the Turner package, it is going to go to NBC, and then that Amazon package is the number 3, that new third package. And what we talked about last week was how it didn't necessarily mean WBD was out of the game, because there was talk that they might even create a 4th package where they might split off a little bit of the NBC package and a little bit of the Amazon package to create a 4th package, piecemeal it to get even more money, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen. But what can happen is WBD does have the right, apparently, to match final offers. Now, none of these offers are finalized. So they haven't been put in a position to match or not match. The other question is, do they have the right to match any of the 3 offers or just the package that they specifically had last time? I don't know the language of the contract. None of us do. That would mean that they only have the right to match the NBC package, because that's the comparable package to the one that they would be losing. But they may have the right to match any of the Now, some of these analysts, like you're saying, believe that they're just going to put their hands up and get out of the NBA game because it's too rich for their blood now. But we'll see. But there apparently is some kind of language, though, in the deal where they can match something if they so choose.
Right, but it has to be the final offer, and then they have a certain amount of days to do that. So what's going to happen is the final offer, the contract will be settled from, NBC and the NBA, and it'll be, 2.5 billion or whatever. And then, WBD has, 3 to 5 days, I think it is, to counter their offer, match that offer, and do whatever they want to do. But they might say we're out, and that's where the interesting part comes in. Let's assume that they do say that they're out. What does that mean for AEW? And we have been on this show saying we still think that WBD is going to want to do business with AEW because they can't get out of the live sport business. And we talked about that last week. A lot of people saying, if they lose the NBA, the carriage fees and this and TNT and WBD will cease to be what it was. Well, they really can't do that wholesale. They kind of have to be in this game because they have NASCAR that they're starting up next year. They have the NHL. They have USA Soccer. They have the Olympics. They have MLB games. They have all these other different properties that they've already paid for, that they paid handsomely for. They can't just get out. March fucking Madness, I forgot to even mention. It's like you can't just get out of it. So they're
pot committed already.
They're pot committed to be in the live sports game. So it's a matter of, do you just take the $2.5 billion that you don't have to spend for the NBA and go, oh, okay, cool, we don't have to spend that, and just move on? Or do you look at that other sports properties and say, okay, we have $2.5 million burning in our pockets. What are we going to do? Well, we saw a little bit of what I think previews what they're going to do is because this week, pretty much a couple hours after it was reported that the NBA and NBC were probably going to, enter into an agreement, we get that Warner Brothers Discovery is subleasing some of the college football playoff games from ESPN. Essentially saying, we're going to pay you, and then you're going to do all the production, but we're going to air it on our network.
Right.
That
because
means
ESPN is the word on the street is they feel like that's a bad deal they were going to lose money on. So they're selling the rights to some of those games to WBD. Right. That's what Rich is talking about.
But that tells me right there that they're not getting out of this game, that they're getting more into this game. Because
they're buying more sports
immediately, an hour or two after we hear about the NBC deal happening, that money's burning a hole in their pocket, and they go pay ESPN to sublease some of the college football games.
Which are going to do monster numbers.
Right. They're going to do huge numbers. And John Oron, who does a newsletter about sports business, here's what he said in his final paragraph of the newsletter. It's a good read, and he's a guy that you should definitely follow if you're into these discussions like this. He says, after all, this type of deal fully comports with WBD's strategy of adding sports rights to maintain the value of its cable business. He's talking about the college football deal. In the past couple of years, WBD has picked up rights to the NHL, NASCAR, and U.S. Soccer. If Zaslav decides not to trigger those matching rights, you can expect WBD to invest a large portion of its $2.5 billion plus of dry powder into other sports rights deals. And
that's how I thought it was going to play out all along.
And he mentions, stuff like the WNBA. He mentions there's a lot of other sports properties out there, but there's also a pseudo sports property that's on their networks already that they would need to pay Joe.
That's a big winner.
Far
on
less
already.
Far less than $2.5 billion is going to re-up AEW with WBD. Far less.
Right. Yeah. So that's why I remain bullish on them getting another deal from. That's why I said all along, I truly feel like losing the NBA is a positive for AEW. WBD losing the NBA. I thought it would be. Look, I thought if they retained the NBA, it may cost them so much that it could squeeze AEW out. But now they don't have that burden of paying that exorbitant amount of money for the NBA package, and they got money to spend elsewhere. Mm-hmm. So I thought the carriage fee argument never held. I thought that was more unnecessary panic talk, the carriage fee argument. I never bought the carriage fee. The name of the game is replacing the NBA with things that are going to help you retain as much.
Right. Now, if they only had the NBA and didn't just buy spend a bunch of money on NASCAR and a bunch of money on the NHL and a bunch of money on USA Soccer and billions of dollars on March Madness or whatever, then sure. If all those deals were ending up in a year, then you might say, yeah, you know what WBD might do is say, hey, we'll play out this year, and then after that, we show reruns of Star Wars and fucking Young Shelton episodes, and that's it. That's what we do now, and we got out of the game.
Pack up the tent and become home and garden television, and just, be no longer be a major players.
But they can't.
But they can't. They're pot committed already.
Right.
They can't do that.
Because what was that March Madness deal that they just signed?
It has to be.
It was billion. But I'm trying to the years wise. Let me see what the years was. I want to say it was like 12 years. Something stupid. It was large, if I remember correctly. See if I can find it here. Regardless, they're not getting out of it in a year. They don't want to get out of it in a year. So yeah, it's
a. You ready for this?
Yeah.
It's a 14-year, $10.8 billion deal with CBS and Turner.
Right.
I mean,
signed what? Like 2 years ago?
No, wait, that's the previous deal. Hold on.
Oh, God,
the new deal. The deal they signed in 2010 was 14 years, $10.8 billion.
Let's see if I can.
I can't find a new one. Hold on. Oh, here we go. NCAA, no, that's for the women's tournament for ESPN. The women's tournament, the ESPN deal for the women's tournament is 8 years, $920 million.
Okay, probably a little bit bigger.
So the men's deal is going to be way bigger than that. Yeah, I don't know. I can't find a new one. Oh, wait, here we go.
It's probably a lot of money.
It's an 8-year deal. No, why are there a million articles on this dopey women's tournament? I can't find
not on the current one.
Caitlin Clark's gone. No one's going to care again. Okay. I hate to break it to everybody. I don't know. Well, if the last one was 14 years, $10.8 billion, then you can imagine. The point is, it's a lot of fucking money.
I found it here. April 16, 2016, the contract was extended to 2032 in an $8.8 billion deal.
Okay, so they extended the previous 14-year deal.
Yes.
And added another $8.8 billion.
Right, to extend it to 2032. So in 2032, we can doom about how WBD is going to get out of the sports game. But until then, they got a lot of money invested in March Madness.
Yeah. Among other things. Among many other things. So, anyway, now we wait and we see how it plays out for AEW.
All right. So, real quick, there's a WWE PLE. Should we even do that? Who cares? Do you care about the King and Queen of the Ring in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia this weekend?
Of course I do.
Okay, well,
Lyra Valkyria.
Valkyria will be facing question mark. Let me get you the whole brackets here so we can, because of course I remember. It's Nia Jax and Nia Jax and who? Nia Jax and Bianca, right?
Yeah.
Is it, or did you just say yeah?
Did you
do you actually know, or did you just say yeah?
It's Bianca because Well, listen, wise guy. Nia Jax beat
Jade in the weird
in the weird, maybe the worst match of the year.
In the weird chair match where
did you see it?
I did. Yeah, it was only 2 minutes, so it wasn't a whole lot to see, and I heard it was terrible and it was so bad.
Horrendous.
Yeah. It was kind of a semi-chair disqualification thing. It's like words can't describe how terrible it was.
It's so
it
terrible.
has to be seen. It has to be seen.
Yeah, so I don't think they wanted Jade facing Bianca, so they put Nia Jax through. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, right.
So that's how I know it's Bianca. And then the big controversy on the men's side, of course, was main event Jay beating Ilya Dragunov, and all the WWE fans had a little war with each other.
I saw a lot of them got banned from Twitter, and so it went kind of wild there for a bit.
Yeah, I don't know nothing about getting banned from Twitter, but I know that. See, some people. This is crazy. They wanted to see Gunther wrestle Ilya Dragunov because they thought that they can recapture them and have another great match.
Sure. Yeah. Especially since Gunther and Jey Uso ended up having a 17-minute match. I mean, man, can you imagine a 17-minute Gunther versus Ilya Dragunov match on Raw or SmackDown? That'd be pretty good, right?
But then the other contingent of WWE fans were all annoyed that the other WWE fans wanted Ilya to win because main event Jey is the one getting the push, you see. So, and the match quality doesn't matter. Who are these newfangled fans who just don't care about match quality?
I don't know.
Do you think they mean it, or do you think they just have to?
I think they just say it. I think it's just shit they say.
They have to just say it, right?
Because then when there is a good match that we all agree is a good match, they love it too.
Right.
They know it's good. They know the difference.
I think they're full of shit because here's why. Whenever there's a great match, they get mad at Dave Meltzer if he only gives it 4.5.
That's what I mean. Like, we all agree that it's a great match. They all think it's a great match, and then they get mad at Dave Meltzer. He gave it 4.25 stars or whatever.
Right. So it's all bullshit when they say they don't care about match quality. They say that because they know WWE doesn't have the match quality of some of these other promotions, so they have to, because it's a team sport. This tribalism, they have to downplay the match quality because they know you understand the point I'm making here. So, but there was like an internal fight between the two sides, the people that wanted Ilya to win because they wanted to see Ilya versus Gunther, and the people that wanted to see main event Jey win. But main event Jey stinks, and I think that
Jey is so bad.
He's like really bad.
He's not good at wrestling at all. He's good at yeeting. He's good at coming out to the ring, but man, once that bell rings,
boy, it is not. It's very rough. There's just nothing there. He, it's all flash. It's all presentation. It's all. What's the phrase? All sizzle, no steak. Or all steak, no sizzle. However that fucking goes. But look, this is WWE. It's overproduced. It's a television show. It's they've cultivated a fan base that's more into the entrances and singing the entrance songs and all of those things more so, than the action itself. And I find that strange and bizarre. It's why I failed to connect with this company and probably never will again. I don't understand it. Yeah. So anyway, it's going to be Gunther versus who in the final of this fucking thing?
Gunther versus the winner of Randy Orton and Tama Tonga.
So after all that, main event Jey lost anyway.
Yes.
After all that, they didn't even
all
put
that
main
hand
event
ringing.
Jey through.
Gunther beat him. Yeah.
Right. So, okay. So,
Paul Levesque he was doing a little bit of a, I don't know if it was a press conference or something today, and he announced that the winners of the King and Queen of the Ring are going to get championship opportunities at SummerSlam.
All right, great.
Yep.
Okay.
There was people on Twitter that were like, "Oh, it's great to add some stakes to the King and Queen of the Ring." They did that for a decade. we can't pretend this is new. They're like, "Oh, wow, that's really good that they're adding some stakes to the King of the Ring." They did that for years, and it's not that different. But all right, whatever. As long as Paul Levesque, booking genius Paul Levesque does it again.
He's just so smart.
Why he didn't announce it at the beginning of the tournament, I don't know. It's May 25th. It is Saturday.
Like in the afternoon or some shit?
Something like that. So.
I know you will be locked in.
Of course, I love anytime they're in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. When they're in my homeland of Jeddah, I'm a big I'm all in at the Jeddah Superdome.
Wow.
Yeah.
Listen, everyone's having a good time on the beach this week.
Yeah.
So, good times for all, except for people who actually live in Saudi Arabia.
Right, except for the women in Saudi Arabia. But
they're not having good times on the beach.
Right.
But Liv Morgan
having a great time.
Living it up on the beach.
Eating some ice cream, hanging out. Yeah.
Yes.
Meechin, having a good time. Yeah, just enjoying.
Meechin, making up for getting a little tan, right? Catching some rays. A little sun, a little surf. All right.
Maybe some turf too.
A little bit of everything. Whatever you want, whatever you need.
Yeah.
Unless you're a woman who lives in something.
Yeah, then, well. Hey, they can kind of drive sometimes now, Joe. Remember Michael Cole told us that?
That's true.
Ago? There was that whole video package about that one woman being
progressive
like...
company. Right. A progressive country, as Michael Cole says every time. This progressive nation. Yes. So.
Becky
Cody
Lynch
Rhodes,
versus
Logan.
Liv Morgan. No, you're not there. I'm not there yet. Becky Lynch versus Liv
trying
Morgan.
to get it over with.
Becky Lynch versus Liv Morgan, the aforementioned Liv Morgan, WWE Women's World Title match.
Yeah, only live once.
Wearing the bodysuit.
If you're a Saudi Arabian woman who wears a bikini on the beach,
Right?
you will only live once.
Right.
You won't live long.
You won't live again. Yep. Oh God. Yep. She'll have the bodysuit on, and yeah. All right, great. Sami Zayn versus Bronson Reed versus Chad Gable in a WWE Intercontinental Title triple threat match.
Sami Zayn taking those bags these days, huh?
Yeah, isn't that kind of funny? That guy was
Sami Zayn taking the bags.
That guy really stood on his ground, and now really? Whatever,
Alrighty.
Got college to pay for in a couple years, so why not? Sure.
Mm.
Punk didn't make the trip. Kind of interesting, huh?
Yeah, he's still nursing that arm injury.
He is. He's doing hopefully he'll be able to have it in a sling. He's doing the cage fight. He's doing the commentary. You know that random ass MMA promotion that he does commentary for?
Yes.
He's got that going on Friday, so he just couldn't make the
Well, do you think someday he will suck the blood money covered dick himself? And
I wonder.
To Saudi Arabia. You think he'll do it?
I don't know. Probably. He avoided this one at least, but yeah, we'll see if he can avoid it forever. And then in your main event, Cody Rhodes versus Logan Paul, which will probably be good, but the crowd won't care because they're all just Saudi oil princes, so they don't really care about anything. So, yeah,
could be an interesting match, Cody and Logan Paul.
Yeah.
Who has a better chance? Logan Paul beating Cody Rhodes, Jake Paul beating Mike Tyson.
I think Jake Paul has a better chance of beating Mike Tyson.
I think Jake Paul is going to beat Mike Tyson.
Yeah, Mike Tyson's a very old man. Yeah.
Paul's favored. I mean,
I'm interested in that fight. Are you?
30 years younger.
I don't care about boxing at all, but
I'll watch that.
I'm gonna watch the fuck out of that one.
I'll watch that. Yeah,
we forgot to mention this last week. Did you know that one of the Collision Arlington residency shows is happening the night of that fight, which is happening down the block, across the street. It's happening at the AT&T. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're going to be in this dopey esports arena. Well, everybody, you and I who haven't watched. When's the last time you watched a boxing match, Joe? Sat down and watched a boxing match.
On now and then.
Do you?
I'll throw
okay.
it on now.
I think the last time I watched was the McGregor Floyd match.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Right? Yeah, that was 5-6 years ago.
This was a while ago.
I think that's the last boxing match I said. Sometimes on like a Friday night, I'll pop on ESPN and it's like,
top rank boxing.
Yeah, right. It's just like,
top rank.
There's like 100 people in the crowd, and this guy versus this guy, and I'm like, that guy's 41-2. That's kind of cool. Yeah. 41-2 versus 22-13. I don't know. Yeah,
it's I enjoyed when HBO and Showtime would have boxing. Both of them dropped it. It's sad. You'd have Jim Lampley and Al Bernstein.
Al Bernstein. Yeah, so they're done. Showtime's even done with it too.
Yeah, Showtime's done too.
Wow. So I knew HBO was done. I didn't know Showtime was done. Damn. Yeah.
Yeah. That'd always be nice to run into, like on a Saturday night when you got nothing going on.
Yeah. Al Bernstein talking about it.
Always felt big time, at least. No, it's
actually that's not true. More recently, I helped a Mexican restaurant steal a Canelo Alvarez fight. I forget who he was against. We were eating at a Mexican restaurant, and these guys were fumbling with this like HDMI cable. They weren't able to get it going. And I asked them what they were trying to do, and they're like, we're trying to get the boxing match or whatever. And some guy had some device or something like that, and they were trying to get it going. And I was like, let me see if I can help. And we got it. Yeah, we got it. Problem with the source, problem with the HDMI cable. We got it working out. Wrong, outlet, but we got it. And yeah. Then I left.
Stick around for it?
No, then I left.
No.
Don't they go on for I don't want to watch the whole event.
Oh, you don't want to watch the undercard?
No, I was there at 7, and I'm like, I'm not going to stay here till 11 to watch, the main event. So no, it was because they were all like, "Oh, you're leaving?" I was like, "Yeah, I don't really care. I was just kind of helping you guys because I thought it'd be cool, to help you guys steal this boxing match." But I forget who he was against. It was him versus somebody. So All right.
Him versus somebody. What a matchup.
Unbelievable. Can you believe it? It was Canelo Alvarez versus another guy.
Canelo Alvarez. I thought, so at least you knew one participant.
Oh, yeah, him versus somebody. Yeah, no, it was him being Canelo Alvarez. Yeah, it was Canelo Alvarez versus somebody. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know who it was, but sure.
Do Marigold next, because I got to piss.
Okay, let's talk about Marigold. Fields forever. You're not going to talk.
Not let's. You talk about it.
Oh, what? You're not in? You're not.
I gotta go return some videotapes.
I thought you were locked in.
I gotta go return some videotapes.
It's Rossi Ogawa, though, man. Come on. The brain trust behind All Japan Women, who was never mentioned in any Observer ever about being involved with All Japan Women.
Listen, I am not 13 to 30 unmarried, so I'm not welcomed to the Marigold.
Oh, so, you're welcome to you can be a Marigolder or a Golder. No. I don't know what they're calling themselves these days. But anyway, the debut show of the new Joshi company, run by Rossi Ogawa, streamed live on Wrestle Universe, set some records as well. We got a press release from Wrestle Universe, said it was the second most streamed Wrestle Universe show ever, behind only Cyber Fight Festival 2022. So big numbers there. They had 30% of their people that signed up and watched the Marigold show were from overseas. So a lot of overseas people jumping on to Wrestle Universe. And I don't have the other stat in front of me, but the biggest signups, the biggest one-day signups since the show or since the service started. So good little numbers there for Marigold. As far as the show, I watched all of it. Not much I can recommend to you, Joe. Not much I can recommend to the listeners as well. Production-wise, it's got a good production to it. They were in Corkin Hall, a lot of lights, a lot of smoke. Oh, the smoke machines. Oh, there was a lot of smoke machines going on here at the Marigold Fields Forever show in Corkin Hall. But production-wise, it looked good. Wrestle Universe always looks great. So the fact that it was able to stream live, if you have a subscription to Wrestle Universe, you're able to watch the show. That helps a lot for sure. So, I enjoyed that, and I thought that definitely, ease of watching Marigold seems like something that's going to certainly help. But yeah, as far as the matches themselves, a lot of rookies, a lot of younger wrestlers. Zeta Steel, they brought in Zeta Steel from America. I don't know why she's bad, but hey, you know what? They're going to build it up over time, I guess, to get to her. But nothing I can really recommend from the rest of the show. What I can recommend to you, Joe, and I am going to recommend this match. I don't know if you're going to watch it, and you probably won't, but I'll try anyway. It is the main event. It's Bozilla. We're going to talk about Bozilla in a little bit. Sari versus Julia and Utami Hayashishita. So can I get you to watch that match, Joe? Are you still pissing, by the way? Or was that all a bluff, that you're not actually pissing?
No, I'm back.
Okay, you're back. Okay. Can I get you to 28 minutes? Can I get you to watch 28 minutes?
Oh, God. Who is it?
Bozilla. We'll talk about Bozilla in a second. Sari, Julia, and Utami.
How many people are in this fucking match?
4 people.
It's a 4-way?
No, it's a tag match. Bozilla and Sari are a tag team versus Julia and Utami.
Oh.
Because you like the Julia. I believe you are quoted as saying, yeah. I like the Julia, I guess.
He's fine.
I think you said, yeah. The Julia's okay or whatever. So I think I can get you on
sounds like an accurate quote. Something
yeah, the Julia, she's fine. So I think that's what you said. So I'm going to take that as
overrated,
like Julia.
To be sure.
Definitely overrated, but I think you said that you like her. Utami, I think and she's a non-factor in this match, I will say. And I think you have seen her before and don't hate her. She doesn't have a tail.
I have. I've seen her.
Yeah. Sari, you like...
Wait, she's the one with the tail?
No, she's not the tail. She doesn't have the tail. No tails. No tails involved in this main event. Sari, you do like. I know you like Sari.
I've seen, she's fine. I mean, she had that series with the chunky girl. That was pretty good.
Yeah.
Before she went to WWE. She's all right. I mean, she's fine. They're all right. Like, none of them are great.
Okay.
I don't know. Who's the other one? Now, the other one's the daughter of...
Bozilla now is, okay. So Bozilla is the daughter of Ulf Herman. Are you listening now?
German.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that interesting to you at all?
No,
but okay, that's fine. That's okay. We'll work it. We'll make it work. So Bozilla came out here. She's still green as hell. I think she's only been wrestling for maybe a year or so. She's 20 years old. She's not very good. She's actually kind of terrible still, but
You're
terrible.
Really selling me on this,
but terrible in a way that works. And this is it tripped a lot of people up in our Discord because, of course, it did. You can be bad, but still be good. Does that make sense? I know you know. Sid Vicious, Terrible wrestler, right?
Yeah.
But kind of good sometimes. In the right spot, Sid rocked. But he's not good. We all agree that Sid's not good. That's kind of the Bozilla thing. That's kind of what you got with Bozilla here. So she comes out. She's only like 5'10", 5'11", but she may as well be. She looks like Satnam Singh in there. You know what I mean? She is so much larger than all these other women, even though she's probably not even 6 foot. But she's big. She's strong. She's Herman the German's, daughter, and looks a lot like Ulf Herman too. And they play the story up well where she is just this monster that cannot be taken down by these other girls. These other girls are bouncing off of her, jumping on her, drop kicking her, doing whatever, and she doesn't move. She just clubs them in the back, throws arms and legs and limbs at them. She's not literally, again, like not very good at actually wrestling, including one of the spots she did. She did a fall away slam to both Julia and Utami, and then broke Julia's wrist. So Julia's going to be out for a little while as well, and will not be at the next couple of Marigold shows. But she's big and she's lumbering. She's kind of got a Saitos thing going on, like the early, like not where they are now, because the Saitos are really good now. She has like the early Saitos when they were just trying to learn how to be, when they gave up on them being like good technical wrestlers and moved on to them just being clubbing monsters. That's where she's at a little bit. There was a spot where they tried to do an Irish whip to her, and she just didn't run. She just took 2 steps and turned around and then just did lariats to both of them.
Aren't you trying to get me to watch this?
I am trying to get you to watch this. It kind of works. I'm telling you, it kind of works. It's not great. A lot of people are saying, it's a Joshi match, so everyone is kind of going too crazy with it or whatever. But it's good. I think it is worth your time.
Oh, you don't say.
Yeah, believe it or not.
People are overrating something, Joshi. You don't say. That never happens.
No.
The reviews are always fair and reasonable.
Yeah, but I think you should watch this match. I think for it being the main event of this debut of this brand new company, this Bozilla, who I think has some potential to be a pretty big. You always say you like the monsters. You say one of the things missing out of Joshi's these days are no monsters. Now she's not good. She's not like Aja Kong or whatever. You know what I mean? But I think it's a good monster. I think you might like it. Sari, you like. Yeah. The Julia, she's fine. I think that counts. And the Utami counts. So I think you should watch this. 28 minutes. I won't ask you to watch any other Marigold matches until another one comes up. Okay? I just think you should try it. It's free on Wrestle Universe. You already subscribed to it. I know, because I use your account. So I know you got it.
Oh. Wasn't even aware of that, but okay.
I know you got it. Actually, I don't know if it's your account. I think you're stealing someone else's account, and I'm stealing someone else's account.
I 100% have my own account.
Really? Well, whose account do I have?
Mine, obviously.
No, it's a weird email. It's a weird email. I don't think it's yours.
Oh, well, it's not mine then. You're not using mine.
Oh, shit. I don't know whose I'm using then. Okay. Anyway, I'm using somebody's Wrestle Universe account. And I think you should make some time for it. Bozilla and Sari versus Julia and Utami Hayashishita from Marigold's Fields Forever. But there you go. Great. By the way, if you are actually interested in the show, Alex Richards and Scott Edwards on voicesofwrestling.com did a very good group review, kind of getting you up to speed about this company, what's going on with Marigold, the wrestlers, because there's a lot of new wrestlers as well. So, all joking aside, if you are actually into the world of Joshi, that's a review that you should definitely check out. And those guys have done a great job covering the beginning of the promotion as well. So, yeah, I watched the whole show. There was nothing else that really stood out to me or anything that I would really recommend to anybody, but I did like that main event enough to, I think, recommend it to you, at least, Joe, and probably recommend it to everybody listening as well. Just not because I don't think it's like a match of the year style match, but I do think that it's an interesting and a well worked match that I think is important in the history. We don't know how long this thing's going to last, this Marigold thing, so I think it's kind of cool to say, hey, you know what, I watched the main event of their first show, whatever that may be, and however that might last. So
did Akira Hakuto work the show?
No.
Oh.
She was not there. No, she was not there. You did get, there is English commentary though, if you want that. You got Stu Fulton. I know you like Stu Fulton. And Sonny Gutierrez. I think everybody hates Sonny, but
I don't know who that is.
He was running some of the English Stardom stuff, and everyone's mad at him because he blocked everybody and was weird or whatever. So I don't know, because I don't get involved in that world, but he was fine on here.
Yeah.
On commentary. Yeah. And I like Stu Fulton. So
did
he doesn't like us, but I like him. So
Stu Fulton.
I don't think
Is he the one that doesn't like us. Is he the one that doesn't like us, or is it the other one?
Well, Pickering. I don't know if Pickering doesn't like us or
not. No, Pickering doesn't like us.
I don't know if he does or
No, isn't Pickering the one that takes shots at me?
Yeah, but Stu Fulton did too.
He did?
Yeah, Pickering comes and goes.
Okay. Well,
sometimes he does. Sometimes Pickering is fine with us. Sometimes he hates us. Stu Fulton, I don't think likes us at all.
Who's the one that wrote for us one time?
That was Mark Pickering.
He's the one who took the shots at me.
Correct.
Fulton took shots at me too?
Fulton said something like, I forget what he said, like, a bunch of, marks, or he called us marks or something like that. I forget what it was. So
I don't remember him taking shots.
Yeah. No, he did, but he might not actually know who he is. Stu Fulton probably doesn't actually know who we are. He was just doing whatever.
I don't think he knows. I don't think I've ever crossed paths with him. I don't have anything against Pickering. He takes shots at me. I don't know. But that's like everybody. So.
Right. Join the fucking club.
Was Jaguar Yokota on
the show? I don't think so, but no, she was not.
How about Dump Matsumoto?
No dump. No dump here.
Well, I mean, this is who I want to see.
Okay.
I don't,
well, maybe Bozilla can fill in for you. Maybe can fill that.
Asuka?
Yeah, well, no, she's not going to fill that void. Maybe she could fill. She's not filling the dump void either. She's not filling any of those voids. But anyway,
I'm not going to watch it.
You're not going to watch it. There's no chance in hell. Yeah, I can tell you're not even feigning an interest.
I'm not even
watching.
Entertaining this.
No. Sometimes you
I'm thinking about
it,
and I'm like,
all right, yeah. I guess you're not even trying. You're not even trying. It's fine.
No. You know what I have been watching and I'm totally locked into?
The Noah.
The 0-1 World Heavyweight title. Because you laughing. What are you laughing at?
No, I'm in. What's going on with the heavyweight title in 0-1? Let me know.
I'm going to catch you up because I don't even think you know, and I think you'll be excited. So, did I do it on a plus or did I do it here when Akitoshi Saito beat Chris Weiss? Did I do that here? I think
we did it here. Yeah, I remember us talking about that.
Okay. So you're caught up to that.
Yeah, so Akitoshi Saito is your 0-1 World Heavyweight Champion in the year of our Lord 2024, which is incredible.
So Satsuki Nagao challenged him, the 0-1 wrestler. And they had the match at Limit Break on April 27th, and Saito won.
Wait, isn't that Noah?
Okay.
That isn't Limit Break Noah?
Yeah. Because Team Noah is feuding with Team 0-1. That's how Saito won the title from Chris Weiss, because Noah came to 0-1.
God, okay, right.
At the charity show, the Earthquake charity show. At the War Criminal Shrine. And he beat Chris Weiss.
Right, the sumo shrine. The shrine, yeah.
For the title. So then Satsuki Nagao challenged him because Satsuki Nagao beat Muhammad Yode in a tag on the undercard. And then he challenged Saito later. Remember, I'm catching you up here.
Yeah.
So, on the Limit Break show, Saito beats Nagao. And Saito's next challenger emerged. It was Go Shiozaki.
Whoa, my God, so yes.
Shiozaki was cornering Saito. But Saito called him in the ring and talked some shit, and Shiozaki shrugged his shoulders. He's like, all right, man.
All right, you want to do this? Let's do this.
So,
I want Go Shiozaki as the 0-1 champion, please.
The match is on the 29th. It's the same day as not the carnival final, the title match. Miyahara versus the fucking champion. Anzai. So both matches are Wednesday. I don't know if we can get them all watched before Thursday, but so it's Go Shiozaki. And now he's winning. He's going to win. Go Shiozaki's going to be the 0-1 champion.
I'm so glad that Go Shiozaki is going to be the 0-1 champion. I love that.
He's not losing.
Akitoshi Saito. No, I don't think so. Unless somebody runs in, unless Chris Statlander turns on Akitoshi Saito, I don't think he's losing to or Go Shiozaki's losing to Akitoshi Saito.
So they had a prelude tag on the first of the 2-star navigation shows for Noah this week. They had 2 shows in Korakuen. The first was, the lesser of the 2 shows, but it was Go Shiozaki and and Katoge, Atsushi Katoge versus Akitoshi Saito and Ironhead Fujita. And that was the prelude to the title match they're having on the 29th. Go Shiozaki's going to win. So does Go Shiozaki as 0-1 champion do anything for
Oh, God, yes. Are you kidding? Yes.
And they got the Fire Festival coming up.
Right. Going into the Fire Festival? If we could go Shiozaki in the Fire Festival, I'm fucking
No, he's not in it. No, he's not in it.
Shit.
I saw the blocks.
Yeah,
But,
well, nevertheless.
Yeah.
Nevertheless.
Right. Now, the Fire Festival is funny because there's like, it started already. I think there were some matches.
I didn't even know it started already. Okay, well.
But then there's like block matches in like July, too. Like, it has real Big Japan tag tournament energy to it.
The 2023 or the 2022 tag tournament that ended in March of 2023 or whatever.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. It's like a 5-month tournament. Yeah.
It's so good.
With like 15 team blocks or something. It was ridiculous. But so anyway, that's what's going on with I've been meaning to talk about that every week and I keep forgetting, but it was a good chance to get it in because of these 2 Star Navigation shows. Now,
how much of these are going to be on the Wrestle Universe with their real 0-1? Are any of these real 0-1 or are these all
That's a good question.
0-1?
With the 0-1 split, I don't know if the Fire Festival matches are taking place in the Wrestle Universe version of 0-1 or the shady gangster version of 0-1.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Let me see. I'll go to Wrestle Universe and see.
Well, if Gerard is in the chat, he'll know.
He'll know.
But I don't know if he's in the chat. So someone in the chat saying you absolutely do not want to see Dump Matsumoto in the year 2024. That's correct. I want to see Dump Matsumoto when all of the people I mentioned were good. That's my point. I don't like modern Joshi. I like all of the people I named when they were good.
So nothing's showing as on demand. Nothing's showing on demand for Real 0-1. It is showing that the disaster support charity show was available. So
I watched it on there.
So they had a show on April 7th that was available. They had another disaster relief show that was available on the 31st. They had another disaster relief one on the 1st. They had another. So it's only the disaster relief show so far from February on. And then the New Year's show and Otani's 30th anniversary show. But these are from last year. So this year, you have Real 0-1 Keep on Running, February 16th. That's available on demand. You have 1, 2, 3, 4 earthquake disaster support shows that are on there, and that's it.
So Gerard the Trollio, no relation to Finn, he says he doesn't think the Fire Festival will be on Wrestle Universe.
All right.
See, here's the thing about the Fire Festival, Rich. There'll be like 2 shows that'll make tape, but really that's all you want.
That's fine. Yeah, I don't want to watch every Fire Festival match. I just want to watch.
No. You just want to taste.
Yeah, right.
That's the kind of thing where you just want to taste.
It's the summer, and it's time for it's Fire Festival time. So I got to watch a couple matches. We come out here every time. We always do a New Year's 0-1 show, and we do a Fire Festival show.
You just want to taste.
Yeah.
You just get a taste.
Sometime in June or July, we come on here and say, the Fire Festival show. What's going on with 0-1's Fire Festival? Yeah.
So Star Navigation Night 1 is just for the sickos, but I am a sicko. And did I watch Shuhei Taniguchi versus Muhammad Yone? You bet your ass I watched that match, Rich. And did I enjoy it? Yes, I did. So I am so into the Noah that I am watching Taniguchi versus Muhammad Yone singles matches in 2024. Those men have to be 100 years old combined, right? 47 for Taniguchi. Yone is 48. No.
Okay, just under. I thought Yone had passed the 50 threshold, but yeah, good for him.
He's been 48 for like 15
I feel like
years.
he has been. I feel like we've had this. He's lying. He's lying about his age. We've done this conversation before, and he's been 48 before. But anyway.
Well, the big thing going on in Noah is Rohei Aoiwa is getting the big shove. And let me tell you something. I am now, and I reserve the right to change my mind. But as of this show, he is my pick as the New Japan young guy who's going to. He will rival Yota Tsuji as one of the top guys in New Japan some 5 to 10 years from now. He is putting it together. He looks like the business. He's working like the business. And this little Noah excursion, it was a really good idea. And I think they should do more of this because He has really been coming into his own. He worked the 8-man tag main event on night 1, opposite of his former mentor, however you want to term it, Kaito Kiyomiya. And I think Starboy Charlie and Titus Alexander have looked excellent in Noah. They have fit right in. So they're doing a nice job. I'm going to...
I saw that Oiwa had a time limit draw against Shiozaki. Did you watch that match or no?
That was on the Sunny Voyage.
Yeah. Is that getting good reviews? Because that's interesting to me.
It was good.
I like it.
Look,
the fact that they did time limit draw, that means something. That's a big...
It does.
That means a lot.
I'm telling you, he's getting the shove. He's getting the push now. And, yeah, you're right. I'm glad you brought up that draw because that was an important result. That was on the Sunny Voyage show. That wasn't the Star Navigation show.
No.
But Star Navigation Night 2, the One Night Dream gimmick, that one, which the first night drew like 800 or something like that. The second night, they had a bunch of seats like roped off too the first night. But the second night, I'm trying to see if I can pull
I got to take a little umbrage with Pro Wrestling Noah calling their shows One Night Dream 1 and One Night Dream 2. I feel like if it's a one night dream, it can't be. You can't have two. It can't be One Night Dream 2.
No. See, I'm calling them Night 1 and 2, but they don't call them that. It was
no. The second one is called Star Navigation One Night Dream 2.
Oh, I thought I thought that was the only one called One Night Dream. I didn't think they called the first night One Night Dream.
Okay, so the first one was just Star Navigation 2024, and the second one was Star Navigation 2024 One Night Dream 2.
Yes, because I think One Night Dream 1 was like a show from another, not this week.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Sort of.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Hold on. One Night Dream.
It's not a one night dream. It's still not a one night dream if there's a One Night Dream 2.
No, your point stands. But Noah One Night Dream was last July in Korakuen Hall.
Okay.
That was the show where Nakajima beat Miyahara.
Okay.
That was
right. Okay. Yeah. But so this one's a Star Navigation and also a One Night Dream?
Correct.
Okay.
This was Star Navigation One Night Dream 2. One Night Dream 1 was last July.
Got it.
Star Navigation is just the name of the little mini tour. It's the tour. You see?
I got you.
It's like when they... Yeah. They do you get
I got you.
So, the
Matt C in the chat room says this one night stand is turning into a relationship. You have one night dream. You have a couple one night dreams. That's I don't know, man. I think you're in a relationship.
Listen, they drew 1,500 for the One Night Dream.
They did.
Okay. Kano Minoru Suzuki, and this was not the sleepwalking Minoru Suzuki match that you've been seeing for the last 3 years. This was bloody. This was everything you would want out of Kano against Minoru Suzuki. So I can't recommend it enough. And I haven't recommended a Minoru Suzuki match in a long time. Was not the best match on the show, though. That was Tomohiro Ishii, Masa Kitamiya.
Okay, how was that? I've heard mixed things from it. I've heard a lot of people loved it.
Do you remember the first one?
Yes.
From Giant? It wasn't as good as that one.
Okay.
Did you remember Sagera Kitamiya from a couple weeks ago?
Fuck yeah, of course I do.
It wasn't as good as that one?
Okay, all right.
No, but it was really good.
Okay. But those are two, incredible matches.
Those are incredible matches. This was... Look, if I didn't star rate it, but I'd still go well over 4. It's just that Kitamiya Sagera to me was
Oh, I mean that's one of the great. That's just fucking one of my favorite matches I've seen this year, where it's just two bulls literally snorting at each other, and then the bell rings, they beat the fuck out of each other for 11 minutes, and it's over. I mean, yeah, you're not going to top that. That's.
So they're having a third match though, because Kitamiya challenged him, and they're going to wrestle on one of the All Together shows, so I'll never see it. I can't get into those shows. I just can't.
No, well, nobody can get into the most recent one because I think it's impossible. It's
you can't even watch it.
We were having trouble watching it, and someone's like, "Oh, it's not that hard. All you gotta do is get a VPN and say you're from the Philippines, and then go on to Abima." And I'm like, I'm out. There's so much wrestling I can watch in 2 seconds. I'm not going on my VPN and say that I live in the Philippines to buy it on Abima. I don't care that much. You've already by giving me 3 different ways. Like by the third like, okay, what you got to do is get your VPN. I'm like, okay, go to the Philippines, go on a beam. I'm out. You know what I mean? At that point, I'm out because I'm already on Wrestle Universe.
Too much already.
Wrestle Universe. I'm watching an Earthquake charity show instead from 0-1. You know what I mean?
There's too much already.
There's so much fucking wrestling in the world. I'm not going through all that to watch all together.
Listen, there's so much wrestling that Rich already isn't paying for and watching on other people's accounts that he just doesn't have time for this.
Right.
Okay.
You got it.
Now, the thing is, Ishii has won no, spoiler alert. He's won both of these matches. So is Kitamiya going to get one here on the All Together show? I don't know. We'll see. So Starboy Charlie and Titus Alexander, they won on both nights. They beat Alejandro and Keito Kiyomiya on the bigger show, and I forget who they beat on the first show. It's probably in front of you. Green and Tadasuke, maybe? Yeah. Anthony Green and Tadasuke on the first show. But yeah, night two is really, that's the night two is a solid watch all the way through. I didn't watch the women's match, but I watched everything else. The Hikaru Sato versus Oka Sasaki, which I thought was an interesting matchup for Sasaki because it's similar, style and everything. So that was a fun opener. What do you think of LJ Cleary and the good-looking guys? Does he pass your good-looking guy?
Does LJ Cleary pass my good-looking guy?
See, I don't think he's that good-looking of a guy.
Nah, he's got a long face. Hair's kind of weird. No, I don't think he's a good-looking guy.
He's with the group.
I don't think he's a good-looking guy. Well, obviously the standards of the good-looking guys are not. They're not great.
Well, Jack Morris is a good-looking guy.
Jack Morris. Very unbelievably good-looking guy. Yes.
Well, geez,
he's a hot guy. I won't.
Calm down over there, fella.
Anthony Green, not my type, but I get it.
Yeah, it's the gimmick though. Metrosexual.
I wouldn't say he's a bad-looking guy. He's not a bad-looking guy. He's a good-looking guy.
Gimmick is that he's a good-looking guy.
Yeah,
that's what.
Jake Lee. Yeah.
No, that's not a good-looking guy.
See, so that's what I'm saying. The standards.
Speaking of Jake Lee,
Yohei is not. Well, actually, you know what? With Yohei, I see it. Not me, but I understand why people would think he's a good-looking guy. There are probably people out there that think Yohei is a good-looking guy. He looks like he smells to me. I don't. Yeah.
I got to talk about, and then we can wrap this up. So Shingo and Tetsuya Naito defeat Jake Lee and Tadasuke in the semi, right? Because Naito's facing Jake Lee on one of the All Together shows. So LIJ wins, but man,
I saw the
Takagi.
I saw the gifts of this.
Takagi hits the fucking Made in Japan or Last of the Dragon, whatever the one is that's the finisher. Last of the Dragon, I think. Even though it's the same move. He hits it on Tadasuke. Naito's got Jake Lee in the corner, right? He is holding Jake Lee's eyes open by the eyelids and making him watch Tadasuke lose. Almost like...
Yeah, look at your fucking geek getting destroyed by my guy.
Like it's a mafia hit. And he's like, look what we're doing to your boy. And we're going to kill you next. As he's holding open his eyes by the fucking eyelids. It was the coolest thing I've ever seen Tetsuya Naito do in my life. He was so exceedingly cool in this match. Then he's spitting on Jake Lee. He's putting the boots to Jake Lee. He's throwing Jake Lee out of the ring. He punked Jake Lee so badly at the end of this match and in this match that it almost makes me think Jake Lee's going to beat him, but there's no chance in the fucking world. They're not going to
do that. Yeah, no chance
that Jake Lee can beat him. I mean, did Jake Lee do something personal to Tetsuya Naito or Bushi or one of the fucking LIJ guys? Because this was insane. I have never seen Tetsuya Naito behave in this way. He was not tranquil, Rich. He was the opposite of tranquil. I couldn't even tell if he was shooting or working. Holding this man's eyes open by the eyelids. Even Takagi was like, hey,
Really?
Settle down.
Chill out, buddy. Tranquilo.
Yeah.
Tranquilo, my guy. He walks over to Naito.
Yeah.
Hey, calm down, man.
Like, he couldn't believe it.
Yeah, we got him. It's over. I won. We won the match.
So that was something else. But yeah, I'm into the Noah. I will patiently await WWE to come in and take over Wrestle Universe. But until then, I am into the Noah and looking forward to everything they do. So that was the 2 Star Navigation shows, and hopefully get to see this Go Shiozaki versus Akatoshi Saito title match on the 29th and watch Go Shiozaki get belted up that 0-1 title. That's exciting stuff.
What of these nights should I watch? Let's say I have
2. I already told you.
Okay.
Night 1, the first show, there's really, you got to be, that's a sicko show. You watch the guys you like.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, I would watch the main event, the 8-man tag, because you got to see Ryohei Oiwa and what he's doing.
I think I might, if I'm going to watch, I might just go to Sunny Voyage and watch that Go Shiozaki Oiwa
Yeah,
main
you
event.
do that too.
Might do that instead.
Yeah. But the Star Navigation One Night Dream too. I mean, you have to watch Ishii Kitamiya. You have to watch Kano Minoru Suzuki. You have to watch that semi-main event
Okay.
tag. I mean, you know,
The whole show looks like an easy watch. The whole show looks like an easy watch.
Yeah. I skipped the women's 6-man or the women's 6 women, whatever the fuck you say. You know, I blew through that because I didn't look interested.
But you had the daughter of Great Muta in there.
What?
Did you know that the great Sakuya or whatever is doing a missed Great Muta gimmick?
Oh, great. We need more of that. We need
more Muta cosplayers is what we need in wrestling right now.
Fucking A, man. Get over it.
Yeah, I think he sprayed her in the face and then she absorbed the powers of the Great Muta or something like that. Yeah.
On, right? You know, what the come on. Why doesn't someone take a hip attack from Koshinaka and then just do ass attacks?
That'd be great. That sounds awesome, actually.
Like,
that's a good sell.
Anything aside from Muto. You know?
We do need more ass attacks in wrestling. You know, we're at
Yes.
we're at a low end of ass attacks in wrestling right now. It's a damn shame. All right. I believe that's it for us. We're out of time here. So anyway, thank you guys, of course, for listening this week. Make sure you go to Flagship, patreon.com, listen to all of our bonus content. A lot of stuff up there over the last couple of weeks. Brand new episode of Brett versus Owen coming your way in the next couple of days, covering the May 1994 in the Bret Hart versus Owen Hart feud. A must-listen episode of the Thursday Dynamite Review this week. Plenty of other stuff, well, Flagship Pluses, bonus audio, and then, of course, this weekend, instant reaction live for AEW Double or Nothing 2024 coming up this Sunday night. That is all available for you there at Flagship, patreon.com. voicesofwrestling.com/Discord. Make sure you join our Discord as well so you can join in on the conversation. And then voicesofwrestling.com for previews, reviews, columns, all this other great stuff going on there at the website. And that is it for us. We'll see you Sunday for AEW Double or Nothing, Instant Reaction Live. That is Joe. I'm Rich. Talk to you next time. Take care. Bye.
Cheering at pro wrestling shows in Japan is back, and 2023 is already shaping up to be a big year in the history of pro res. That's why you should listen to the Emerald Flow Show. From the Royal Road to the Green Mat, Paul and Gerard take you into the world of All Japan Pro Wrestling and Pro Wrestling Noah. Not only do we analyze events, but we examine business, who is getting over, what angles are working or not. Occasionally, we take a look at other Japanese promotions like DDT and 01. So if you're looking for more coverage of the world of Japanese wrestling, check out the Emerald Flow Show on the Voices of Wrestling Podcast Network, available on all of your favorite podcast apps.